Okay, first and foremost, I'm using the lav mic because it's really hot in my room and I got my window AC going, so I'm using this to try and minimize the AC noise. So if you hear that, I apologize. But you won't have to hear it for long because I won't be filming here for long. Tomorrow, in about 20-ish hours, actually almost exactly 20 hours, I am going to be hitting the road to go to Louisville, Kentucky, to meet friend of the channel Eric and some other homies there, because they invited me to go on a bourbon trail type thing. It's like a toury. It's like we're spending Thursday and Friday, 2 whole days, pretty much just touring bourbon distilleries and get a little passport, blah blah blah, like checking things out. Here's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of drinking to begin with. I'll get rowdy. I'll get rowdy when the time calls. I'll get rowdy. But very rarely do I come home and crack open a drink. If I'm a social drinker to the max. That is me to a T. I only drink out when I'm out and about with friends and they're drinking too. But a step beyond that, I hate bourbon. I hate bourbon. I hate whiskey. All that is nasty. When it comes to hard liquor, I very much am a gin and rum kind of guy. Those two. Those are my go-tos. Particularly gin, kinda. But they asked me to go on this, and I said sure because A, it'd probably be a good time regardless, but B, as I've said on the channel time and time again, things are worth trying, even if you might not like it. And this is one of those times. If there is ever a time for me to like bourbon, it's going to be on this trip. We're going to be touring distilleries, talking to bourbon experts, sampling what I'm assuming is at least somewhat high quality bourbon. So if there's ever a time for me to start enjoying bourbon, it's going to be now. So I really don't know what this video will entail. I'm heading down to Louisville tomorrow. I'll get to Kentucky at get at my Airbnb probably 11-ish. And then I'm going to stop before I go to the Airbnb. I'm going to film another video for a fast food joint that's down there that I got to make a quick pit stop at, film a video at. But that one will be out before this, so you'll know whatever it is. I'm going to keep that one a little secret. But yeah, so really don't know what this video will entail. I'm going to try and film as much as I can, at least within reason, get some good stuff, maybe get some quick interviews up, talk to, my friends a little bit, talk to some of the distillery people, see if I can get some cool answers out of them. Obviously going to be trying some bourbon. I might utilize my phone a decent amount on this because it's going to be a lot easier for me to whip the phone out and record versus my camera and everything. So I might be utilizing my Pixel 7 Pro. But yeah, we'll see what this video entails. This is a very unique type of video here on Milkman Channel. So we'll see. But yeah, so this is my bourbon video. Name TBD. Who knows? Length TBD. Content semi TBD. I'm really just kind of winging this. So hope you guys enjoy it. All right, I just got out of work, got to text the group and my folks that I'm leaving, and then it's heading straight to Zaxby's. We got about 6 hours on the road ahead of us, so lucky me. Cue the obligatory road trip montage.
Travel the world together, babe. Travel the world together. Travel the world together, babe. Travel the world together. Up in the mountains, down by the seaside. Doesn't really matter, long as I'm with you. All of our worries fade in the sunset, and we'll be happy one day at a time. and have a beautiful life. Travel the world together, babe. Travel the world together. Travel the world together, babe. Travel the world together. Up in the mountains, down by the seaside. Doesn't really matter, long as I'm with you. All of our worries fade in the sunset, and we'll be happy for the rest of our lives.
Recording this on my phone because I don't feel like getting my camera back out. But as you saw, I was at Zaxby's, filmed a quick video, and now I just made it, I don't know, somewhere to a bar we're going to. You might not see me anymore tonight, but if you don't, see you in the morning. Otherwise, I don't know, I'll talk to the camera or show you the Airbnb or some shit, I don't know. But hey, this could be the end of the day one of the trip for as far as filming is concerned.
I mean, you might find something you like better than that. Not everybody thinks crappy's.
Yeah, it comes down to, I think ultimately it comes down to
It's very good. But, I mean, the main reason you do it is for bragging, right? Because people... should. If you put Pappy Van Winkle on there, you'll look like such a rich...
He just paid, he didn't do it the 4 ways, so I'm just gonna pay you.
How do you like that?
How would we define me as a drinker? Simple. I am borderline sober. I rarely drink, and when I do, it is on the most social of settings when I am out. And more often than not, I am drinking to get rowdy with my friends. So before we dive into this, I sat down with my traveling companions, who are much more experienced drinkers than I, and asked them a few questions to try and see what it is about drinking they enjoy and try to get into their headspace a little bit. First one, what was the first time you remember drinking? What did you drink, and what were your thoughts at the time on it?
Like alcohol ever?
Yeah, alcohol.
Or whiskey specifically?
Alcohol
That's an
ever.
incriminating question.
Statute of
So-
limitations.
My earliest memory
Tell
of
yourself that
drinking
every day.
alcohol is who knows how old I was. I was with this tomfool across the table from me, and we were.
My lawyer's in present.
Yeah, we were wildly underage. He was spending the night at my parents'
Wildly
house.
underage.
I was wildly underage. And we didn't know what the heck we were doing. We had a bottle of Smirnoff vodka and not knowing what we were doing. We like took a shot. We're like, I feel nothing. Took another shot. Anyway, we do like 7
It
shots.
doesn't end in us having sex.
Was this your first time too?
Yeah, drinking.
Okay.
And terrible experience. I mean, vomit everywhere, whatever. That's my first memory drinking. What I think
was
is
16
more
shots.
relevant, my first memory with whiskey would have actually been maybe 6 years ago. I came here with a friend, our dearly departed friend Danny. Came to Louisville. At the time, I was just super obsessed with craft beer. So I was
wish
here.
him the best on his house reno.
Yeah, I was here to do a brewery bar crawl, and he had just recently started getting into whiskey. He was in a whiskey club with his brother, so we went to Angel's Envy, and they
What
were
was happening simultaneously doing the kitchen reno anyway.
Angel's Envy. We had no idea how the Bourbon Trail works, so Angel's Envy was like, "We're booked up, forget you guys." But I was like, "All right." So the next place we went, I ordered Angel's Envy, and I remember being like, "This is cool, I guess, but it's very strong." But it's still a fond memory for me. And then later, when I got into whiskey, I was like, I must go back. So
I should have prefaced this that not every question is specifically about bourbon, but you can make it that.
fair.
Yeah, you can
We're
make it.
here.
No, I know you can make it like that if you want. All right, Eric.
2 specific things I recall. First time I remember having any alcohol was, I think my dad let me sip a beer
It's a little louder.
when I was a kid. I'm speaking loud enough. Can you really not hear me?
I'm just watching the audio levels. It's probably because Luke was a lot closer to me.
The second time I remember my brother brought home some beer from Germany. and gave it to me, and that was my first like real alcohol that I sat down and drank, because in Germany when you're 16 you're legal to drink. So he gave me beer. That was my first experience with alcohol. Having like not just sips, having an actual.
Was it good? Did you enjoy it?
No, I didn't know what I was doing. I put it over ice.
Beer?
Yeah, I had no.
Yeah,
he was
you're
like,
retarded.
he was like, what are you doing? I had no idea what I was doing at all. But I've had beer from Germany since, and it's,
not on ice.
It's amazing. Not on ice, and it's amazing. It's
I never
everything
knew
that is.
That's crazy.
It's everything that it's hyped up to be. But yes, yeah, that was my first exposure to alcohol.
Okay, since we already kind of heard your story, do you have anything to add from your point of view?
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm hella ripped. Yeah.
There was like a gym in my parents' basement, and so there was Justin like gets on it and starts just lifting it, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm ripped!" And then I was like, "There's no weights on that bar."
Oh my god.
Well, I mean,
Inside joke of when you're drunk for the first time ever.
I knew that, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing you gotta realize about alcohol is that it's meant to bring people together. Like they call it a social lubricant, and it really, really is. When you have it, you're lubricated, and things just start moving more smoothly socially. So, drink up, me hearty Joe ho. And just as far as my experience with alcohol is, I learned some things, and then I forget a lot of those things, and then I just keep drinking until I don't remember anything. That's kind of my journey with alcohol. I drink what tastes good until I black out and get thrown out of a bar. That's kind of how it works for me.
Okay.
So.
Well, you already kind of answered my next question of what is it about drinking you enjoy? And yours would be getting hammered.
Yeah, well, there's a taste aspect a little bit, but if you, there's a reason why people don't fucking drink O'Doul's. I mean, let's be honest here.
Drink what?
O'Doul's.
What's O'Doul's?
O'Doul's is a non-alcoholic beverage. It
Okay.
tastes just like beer, but it doesn't have alcohol in it. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you?
Just an NA.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Some people, you drink because it tastes good and because you feel good. It's a combination of the two things together. And then you drink more things that taste good and feel good, and then eventually, hopefully it ends with you feeling really good because you get lucky. So that's kind of the process with alcohol. If you do it with other people, you often do it with women. Sometimes it ends in a really good way. So I think that's the story of everybody with alcohol, though. Something that we've talked about extensively, me with the other gentleman here that you've seen on camera, is that when women drink, they do.
Okay, Luke, your turn. We're gonna stop that there.
All right. The question is, what do I enjoy about drinking alcohol?
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of have a hot take. I guess I actually wish that I did not get drunk when I drink alcohol. I love the flavors of it and the community of it. So my perfect world is when I get to just experience both the community of making it. Like I love being at a winery and being where they've grown these grapes and talking to people that are passionate about it, and then like sharing a drink that they are excited about with the people that I'm there with, kind of learning and experiencing the culture with. I love the four of us being here, doing the Bourbon Trail, bonding, and like getting to experience these delicious flavors that I actually enjoy. So for me, it's not the high of getting drunk that excites me. It's literally the experience, the community, and the flavors. I think it brings people together. I guess the being drunk aspect is it helps bring people together because it lets us kind of take the edge off of everyday life and loosen up with each other as we as humans and especially as men can sometimes struggle with. But it's a fun time. I enjoy it.
What was the question?
What do you enjoy about drinking? What is it that like draws you into cracking open a cold one?
Yeah, I would probably just simply say the community aspect of it.
Okay.
The community aspect. Yeah.
So all you guys said the community aspect. So would you rather have bad company and good drinks? Hey, don't look ahead of time. That ruins it. Would you rather have bad company and good drinks, or good company with bad drinks?
Good company with bad drinks.
Yeah, it's gonna.
And then bad company with good drinks is worst, and then good company with bad drinks. But the reason I keep doing it is for the times like now when you're having good company and good drinks.
Yeah, I think any instance with bad company is a net negative experience.
Bad company, bad drinks. Kill me now.
Yeah.
All right, go to Justin for the story.
I can't speak to good company with bad drinks because I've only ever kept bad company.
Oh my god!
A bunch of loser degenerates. The drinks have been really good. I mean, these guys are just absolute degenerates. Once you turn off the camera, they're just saying things about what they do at night that you don't even want to know. I mean, it's
they're
filthy.
the ones saying
It's filthy. It's filthy.
Okay.
Yeah. So, no, good company and bad drinks. I don't know what you define as a bad drink. If it doesn't have alcohol in it, if you're with friends, it tastes better. You know, you can make it work. Me and Luke, we started small. We started Smirnoff vodka, very high proof. That's not exactly something you just whip down, but we had each other's company. We had good company, and it became something more. So it's possible to have good company, bad drinks. We know, we did it. We did Smirnoff vodka. I took that same tradition with me to college at OCU. Me, Luke, and his cousins, we all drank Smirnoff together in the upper bedroom in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Shout out to the Okies.
So we actually have real experience having bad drinks with good company, and it does work. As far as bad drinks with good drinks with bad company, haven't really experienced that so much, but that would probably be fun if I got drunk pretty quickly. So, question 3.
What's your favorite kind of alcohol and why?
Well, beer is for quitters,
Okay.
so
All right.
it has to make it to a still.
Guess I'm a quitter.
Oh no, So I mean, I guess to answer your question, because you're wanting a specific answer, it does change for me. Sometimes it's wine, sometimes it's whiskey, sometimes it's cognac. It could be tequila. I'd say my overall would be whiskey. And what was follow up? Why?
Yeah. Is there a subset of whiskey or just whiskey in general? Like, what do you like, bourbon or scotch, or is it just kind of all your favorite?
I'm weird. Okay, I guess if I'm being literal, it's like if it's a fall day and I'm around a campfire, I want a peaty scotch. If it's a hot summer day like this, I want a high proof with a bourbon with some sweet sugar aspect to it.
So it's just whiskey in general.
Seasonal, yeah.
Okay.
It's what's my context? I might even prefer to have a nice añejo tequila on a hot day like this. It's what, but I do prefer, I think, distilled spirits, and then under that would be like wine, and then beer is just for quitters.
Okay. Why whiskey though? Just because like it matches the mood.
Well, like I said, I mean, it could be tequila. It's seasonal. Cognac to me is meant to be sipped in the freezing cold weather around a campfire. Like cognac is for those cold times. I'm a seasonal drinker, so gin for me also. Like if it's summertime and it's hot, gin. Drop a little, squeeze some lemon into the gin. You're having a fantastic summer drink. For me, it's not the individual drink. It is the season and the setting that you're drinking. But if you literally just say, Luke, what do you drink most often? It's whiskey, and I like it for it's got the caramely butterscotch flavor. It probably fits my American palate the most.
Okay.
Probably just bourbon.
Why though?
It's what I've probably had the most experience with in terms of drinking and variety. Yeah. Everything else, like I'm not a huge tequila person, I'm not a wine person, I'm not a vodka person. That stuff is... I have, like, some of my siblings like that stuff, that's just not my thing.
So it's really just like the only... other than... You like beer.
I like Borchkova, but that's not like an American thing.
Okay, Mr. Worldwide over here.
I like that. It's kind of like a gin, but it's not gin. I don't know another way to explain that. but I don't really think I drink much else than that. So that's my experience. I don't know.
All right.
It's not really. There's not a lot of depth to it.
It can be a short answer.
Yeah. I will say I like mixed cocktail drinks and variations. Like I'll try other stuff, but there's nothing specific that if I go to a bar or I go out, I may just pick a random.
Okay.
So.
What's the question?
What's your favorite type of alcohol and why?
My favorite type of alcohol is probably beer. You know, it gets the job done. Beer gets the job
right there
done
with
when
them.
it needs. I mean, practically speaking, the alcohol that I use the most is probably isopropyl, 90% on my electronics in order to clean them. But in terms of what I imbibe for enjoyment, beer is probably my go-to. However, bourbon is extremely good. And if you're looking at the full range of spirits, I put bourbon at the very top. But it's a difficult question because rum and gin are also very good. If you want a really good drink and you just can't make up your mind, go ahead and do a Long Island iced tea. Another great drink is sex on the beach. Another great thing to do is have sex on the beach. So,
All right. All right.
sex
Well,
on the beach sucks.
we'll call that one
Actually,
there.
it's not a really. It's not
Hey,
a good drink.
here's something for you.
I was just
send
trying-
help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, but also send help.
What's my next question?
We got 4 more.
Okay.
What is it about bourbon specifically that you enjoy? Especially, I'm actually curious about this because as someone who's Ralphing every time they drink it, why, what, throw up.
What is the question?
What is it specifically about bourbon you enjoy?
All right. Well, what I enjoy most about bourbon is that bourbon has very strict rules. So you have to be at least 51% corn. You have to be from a new American oak barrel aged in. You have to be, you can't come off the still higher than like 160 proof. You have to come out of a barrel. You can be proof no lower than like, I can't remember the exact proof, but there's a lot of core rules to be qualified as bourbon. And so you can look at those rules and you can be like, wow, all bourbon tastes the same. And then you come here and you taste it, and there is incredible variety in the different flavors of the bourbons. And so what I really love is being able to, I fell in love with bourbon here in Kentucky, which is why I like to bring people back here. And what I fell in love with was the fact that you can go to different places and you can hear how and why they change their mash bill or their aging or their the proofs that they do. Like Michter's proofs it down prior to going into the barrel. They do different things, and then tasting how that really impacts and makes a style of liquor that has so much variety in a really set amount of rules. And I just love how creative people can be with it, and that's my number one thing I love about it.
Okay.
I would probably just in the short answer say,
Hold go on forever.
yeah, I think, well, I mean, the optimal camera lens is probably
No,
like,
okay, that's not it.
Oh, what?
Why do you like drinking bourbon
Yeah.
or bourbon?
Oh, just what is it about bourbon in general you enjoy?
I mean, definitely, I think the basis of it is the flavor. I think everybody drinks, you know, if you're drinking alcohol just to get, you know, whatever, that's your own thing. But I definitely think, like, there's some, if you're not enjoying it and you're, like, taking it down and you're like, that's awful. Like, at what point are you, I don't get it to me. So I like it for the flavor. But I also think, like, the reason we're here, we could be sipping on drinks in St. Louis. And I think ultimately, like, why I've enjoyed it is the buy-in of, like, the history. The history of bourbon is, there's, like, a rich history of that. Granted, we haven't done, like, wine or other things in that, but, like, I enjoy bourbon more now and have more of an appreciation for it. Having met people and, like, you know, today we got to see a master distiller and, like, all these cool things. But there's, like, a lot of history to that and a lot of history to these companies that we get to see. So that's a cool element of it that I think is a buy-in to the alcohol.
question.
What is it about bourbon that you enjoy?
Well, the thing about bourbon that you have to realize is bourbon is a distinctly American beverage. All right, so you could actually have a corn-forward whiskey, like a Scotch, and you wouldn't be able to call it bourbon because ABC's a bourbon. One, American. B, it's in a barrel, new white charred oak barrel. And 3 is that it's over 50% corn. You could have over 50% corn and it not be in America. You can't call that shit bourbon. Bourbon is an American beverage. You're doing, I mean, you don't even have to go overseas and serve your country. If you're drinking bourbon, you're serving the American people. You're doing what's right. You might as well wave an American flag in front of it.
All right, next question.
So you like the American aspect of it?
Yeah, also it just tastes good. I don't really have a more interesting answer than that. So.
And whatever, I'm looking for whatever's true, not whatever's like eloquent.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for whatever's funny. I'm looking for whatever's fast.
Okay, so obviously,
I'm looking for whatever's
you noticed. Yeah. So obviously, you guys have done this before. To the uninitiated, people might think distilleries are largely the same. What would you say if someone told you that? And like, what is it about just touring distilleries and tasting all this different bourbon that makes you want to come back and do it again and again?
Well, the first thing I'd say is, have you ever done it?
Well, yeah, okay.
So I guess I'm going to give a different kind of answer, but I think it's going to answer the question that you're asking, which is why do it? So I don't even think it's necessarily just coming to, although I think coming to Kentucky and doing the bourbon show is amazing, but I've had the same experience doing like Napa, doing Sonoma. I think that when you are with a group of friends or family and you go somewhere and experience the culture around making the spirits, because most places you go, like I said in the last question, they do things differently to set themselves apart, but they're very passionate about it. Like we went to a place, Hartfield Company, they have 5 employees, and they have a shocking output for what you would think 5 people could do. And they clearly all just love what they do, to invest that much time and detail into something. And so you're able to be there and be around the people that do it and see why they do it and taste it and just, I know this sounds kind of stupid, but there is like kind of just like a romantic kind of aspect of being in the place where they make something, being with people that you are friends with or family with and you care about. And if you go to the Bourbon Trail, I think even someone like Cam who doesn't like whiskey will leave here being like, yeah, I still don't like whiskey, but I appreciate whiskey and I know the differences and I appreciate the passion people have behind it. Same thing if you go to Napa, if you go to Bordeaux, if you go to Cognac, go to Jalisco for tequila. I love that fact part of it. I think if you haven't done it, it's a perfect bonding experience for you to go do it with people you care about.
Answer the question.
Someone says to you, isn't it just a bunch of random distilleries you're going to? What is your response?
More or less.
You have not been.
All right. Short, sweet, to the point. What about you?
Like, why is someone saying why should I bother?
I mean, the truth of the matter is, all these people, they're all plagiarizing from each other. They are all the same, but they have to make it seem like they're not. So, Wild Turkey has its animal. Yellowstone, who knows why, but it just throws in a national park in there. We don't know why. Four Roses has a couple of botanicals as their mascot. Who fucking knows why? No, I'm just kidding. They're all of these places are unique. They're all individual. They're all really good in their own ways, with the exception of a few. I'm not going to name names, but Maker's Mark, not as good as the others. They all have their own kind of style, their way of doing things, and they'll tell you about it on the tour. They'll tell you about it for a long time before you get to the tasting. So, if you want to learn more about that, you can go on those tours. But they're all very cool, very hardworking people. It's kind of a brotherhood, is what I hear, more than a competition. Some are better than others, but I would tell viewers, get out there, experience all of them. Some of them will have good alcohol, some will have bad alcohol, some will have hot tour guides, some will have not hot tour guides.
All right. We'll end that one there. So you already kind of mentioned this with Napa Valley and stuff, but what like other kind of alcohol production facilities do you want to tour and like experience?
Oh,
Wait, what was it?
all of them.
Okay, what are like
Top tier.
What's next on the list?
Yeah, I would go into Mexico, doing Jalisco for tequila, doing mezcal. Like that is so high on my list. But I have a lot of people that also feel that way. So when I do it, I will do it with them. I have not yet gone to Cognac in France and toured Cognac distilleries. That's very high on my list. And I really want to go to Jamaica and Barbados and do rum distilleries.
That'd be lit.
Yeah, I think Napa, wine country. You should see a QR code to donate to my fund.
Definitely
to,
not
to
happening.
support the cause. My wife wants to go, so don't forget to like and subscribe. But you'll have a link to Eric.
He's not gonna get laid unless you donate.
All right.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, what was the question?
What other alcohol like production facilities would you like to tour and learn?
Well,
more
there's
about?
a ton of them. I mean, if from the beginning of human time, since the Sumerians, people have wanted to get loaded, wanted to have fun. I wish you could turn the camera towards yourself. And people wanted to get loaded since the beginning of time. So
That is true. In fact, some of the earliest cave paintings that we have are literally of people with straws in a clay pot, which is they're drinking some probably god-awful, wildly fermented beverage. Who knows what it was?
it is interesting.
But they're getting
I've
drunk.
talked to some historians and anthropologists, and the expressions on their faces, they are very, very big smiles.
Next question.
Okay.
Very big smiles.
Last one, a little bit of a fun one. If you could create your own alcohol like production and brand and stuff, what kind of alcohol would you want to make?
Good one.
No answer except that. Yes, an answer, but not to the question you're specifically asking.
That's like the third one in a row you've said that. You're like, no answer, but here's an answer for
If I were to do
different
something
question.
like what you're saying, honestly, I would want to open a bar that's purpose is educating people about how these products are made and where they are made. And so I would want it to be like a bar where you could come, you could just get some cocktails, get some spirits, or wine and have a good time, or you could literally like book a tasting experience, which would be like if you're doing a rum tasting experience. I would walk you through these rums and like where they're made in Jamaica and Barbados and stuff like that. That would be my dream thing to open, because I've been to Kentucky, Napa. Like I think that would be my dream thing to do. I wouldn't want to create a new product. I would want to share the love of these products.
Okay.
What was the question? What about a bar?
No, like if
No,
you
it
could
was
create
like
your
that.
own like if you wanted to like make your own alcohol brand and like make your own distillery or brewery or
What
whatever.
type of alcohol?
Yeah,
would it
like
be?
would you want to do like whiskey or bourbon or
goodness.
vodka or whatever?
Well, I mean, if it's bourbon, I'd have to be here to do it.
It doesn't
so-
have to. It's just whatever. Like if you dream scenario, if you could only make one type of alcohol, what kind would it be?
Probably bourbon.
Okay.
I think it's like I would be the most invested because I would really like. I mean, it's so much work. I think people forget how much work
Dude.
it is. What?
Can move on to Justin.
Hey, this is my question or my answer.
Yeah, I was
all right?
gonna say,
You get Justin over here with the lectures. I'm just saying it's all like
It's not a lecture, it's information.
Bourbon. Why bourbon?
I would say bourbon because it comes back to the most experience of what I'm looking for in terms of flavor and all those things. But to think about the logistics of actually doing it, I'm sure I'd sit there, let it sit for 4 years, pull it out, and go, "That's bad," is an understatement. I'm sure it would be awful. So I don't know, but I also don't know enough about other alcohols to be able to speak for like product and how those sit and all that. Because like maybe rum would be the easiest to do because you don't have to let it sit nearly as long. That would be my guess.
You do.
How long do you have to let it sit? Not 4 years. It's
Longer.
not opposite.
Most rum that you think is absolutely phenomenal is younger because it's aged in the Caribbean where it's hot AF and it ages significantly faster. If you were to make rum in St. Louis, Missouri, it would have to sit much longer than your bourbon would have to have the same flavor profile as rum from the Caribbean. Where something is aged has a substantial impact on how quickly it takes on barrel characteristics.
Okay, so then nothing. I guess water. I do that with, take some ice cubes out back and sit them in a bucket,
You are like looking way too deep into that.
So, in summary,
Hey, hold on.
In summary, bourbon.
in summary, enjoy alcohol with your community and go experience the communities that make it.
and respect the craft.
Wait, I didn't answer that.
Yeah, Justin did that.
All right, so here's the thing. I actually have looked into it, and I've already trademarked WIT, W-I-T. It's for what is this? What I would do is I would hire a large number of blind people, and I would get them to randomly create a mash bill or something that you could ferment to create into alcohol. It would be different every time. We would age it for a random amount of time based on a kind of Wheel of Fortune wheel, how many years, and then it would come out and nobody would know what this is. So WIT, what is this? People would start to guess, is this peas fermented? Is this potatoes? We don't know. They don't even know because we hire blind people to do it. It would be a mystery game. And there would be some barrels that would be really good, but it would just be one big cryptic mystery game. What is this? Looking for investors. If you're interested, contact me, Justin McKicker. What is this? We're also looking for blind people who are willing to work in hot conditions.
In other news, Justin's going to jail, but for unrelated to that.
Yeah, and that's all I got.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
How bizarre would that be, though, if you just like you didn't know what this was made out of? Because you can make alcohol out of anything. You can make it out of potatoes. You can make it out of. Do you think you'd be able to tell, Luke?
Before we get too deep, let's establish what bourbon is. Bourbon is a type of whiskey. Bourbon is a barrel-aged liquor that is primarily made from corn or maize. Whereas it is commonly believed that bourbon can only be made in Kentucky, this is not true. However, bourbon does have to come from the United States. Bourbon has been getting made and distilled ever since the 18th century, and although it doesn't have to come from Kentucky, it is strongly associated with that state. Although the history is not concrete, it is largely believed that European settlers, mostly Scottish and Irish, brought the knowledge and the processes over to the U.S. Although there is no definitive record of the first person to make bourbon, most lines seem to lead to Elijah Craig, a minister who was a well-known Kentucky inventor, was the first person to age the liquor in charred oak casks. And it is also believed to be named after Bourbon Street in New Orleans, which is where a lot of the first batches of bourbon were sold. Another proposed origin of the name is that it is named after Bourbon County, Kentucky. Although Bourbon County was originally in Virginia, it became part of Kentucky when Kentucky became their own state in 1792. Fun fact, from the start of Prohibition in 1919 to late 2014, there were no bourbon distilleries in Bourbon County, officially that is. There were almost more than likely people making not just bourbon, but other kinds of alcoholic beverages in the county during Prohibition. In 1964, bourbon was officially recognized by the United States Congress as a distinctive product of the United States. Today, in order for the spirit to be officially bourbon, it must tick the following boxes. Produced in the United States, that includes Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico. Made from a grain mixture that is at least 51% corn. Aged in new charred oak containers. Distilled to no more than 160 proof or 80% alcohol. Put into the charred oak container for aging at no more than 125 proof or 62.5% alcohol. And finally, bottled at a minimum of 80 proof or 40% alcohol. There is no minimum amount of time that bourbon can be aged in the wood, but in general, it seems the lowest acceptable amount of time is 3 months. However, a subset of bourbon, known as straight bourbon, does have a minimum aging requirement of 2 years. And any bourbon aged less than 4 must state the length of time it was aged for on the label. In order to make bourbon, the mash, or in layman terms, all the ingredients, get distilled down to a clear liquor known as white dog. The white dog is then placed in the charred oak containers for aging. It is through this aging process that the white dog really becomes bourbon. It gains its distinctive brown color from the wood as well as its flavor, as a lot of these sugars and other flavors transfer from the wood to the liquid. And then, once it is removed from the oak container, it gets filtered and diluted, usually with water, and is then bottled and ready to sell. Once the oak container is emptied of the bourbon, it cannot be used to make bourbon again. A new container is needed. Oftentimes, bourbon distilleries will sell their used containers to distilleries outside the U.S. for them to make other spirits in. So now that we have defined bourbon, how would we define me as a drinker? Simple. I am borderline sober. I rarely drink, and when I do, it is on the most social of settings when I am out. And more often than not, I am drinking to get rowdy with my friends. So before we dive into this, I sat down with my traveling companions, who are much more experienced drinkers than I, and asked them a few questions to try and see what it is about drinking they enjoy and try to get into their headspace a little bit. Well, there you go. Now that we've established what bourbon is, how big of a drinker I am, and you guys got to learn a little bit more about my traveling companions, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video, and let's go through some distilleries. Which distillery we're going to?
It is called Town Branch. Oh,
Shut that over with.
it's called Town Branch, so it's kind of cool. It's in Lexington, and it's actually a brewery and distillery. So they'll walk you through the brewing process for beer, and then the distilling process for the whiskey. And then at the ending, you get like a set number of tokens. And so you'll have like 5 tokens, and you turn those in to decide what beers or whiskeys you want to taste of theirs.
Okay.
I don't think I shut that over.
I don't know, did we?
After a day's work, have an ale, talk about things, a lot of great ideas are discussed and invented over beer. So, now, this is Dr. Lyons here in this picture. That's his wife, Deidre. Unfortunately, Dr. Lyons is not with us any longer, but Mrs. Lyons is very active in the company. She helped design the visitor center over there in the Irish theme and so forth. So, we bought the company in 1999. We built this building around the existing brewery, and tore the existing brewery down, and began production in 2000. Cherry. Cherry?
That's good too.
Imperial Milk Stout.
I'll do the milk stout as well.
A little bit about bourbon. Believe it or not, I know it's bourbon. They agree. All right, everybody get the desk? Yeah. You sure you take a deep breath while you're in there? Look out to see, I'll explain everything you're doing out here. I want to make sure all the senses are excited.
Smells like bourbon, all right.
All right.
Nice little angel share.
I'm sorry?
Said
Nice little angel share.
That is the angel share. That's what you're smelling. We talked about the devil's cut being trapped in the wood of that barrel. This is the angel share. This is what's evaporating from those barrels. When we fill a barrel up before aging, there's 53 U.S. gallons in the barrel. You lose 2 to 4% volume every year. You've heard of Happy 23 and Happy Then Reaper. They were the first barrels ever filled when we built this in 2008. The founder, again, from Ireland, he leans toward that single malt. So this is over 16-year-old single malt whiskey. We brought it over from the Rick House. Brought these over from the Rick House. They're about 7.5 years old. You see the field there. The barrels are on that white piece of paper. We'll have clients come in. On the cruise lines, water or wort, then within 3, 4, 5 days it literally starts falling apart. So, when we know we're sending a single malt whiskey over, empty this, clean it out real good, and then we're going to pipe that wort over to single malt whiskey. We're going to add the yeast, and the yeast is going to do its magic.
I gotta think about this.
Wow, this is tough.
Yeah.
I want to get the rye, and maybe you probably want to get the gin, right?
That's going to be one of them, yeah.
You're a gin guy, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta take that first Kentucky, called the Kentucky Chew.
Which one did you get?
The 12 year.
I thought you just did that.
Oh, this one is the True Cast.
That's
This is the True Cast. I had the 12
okay.
year
I was
before
just gonna
this.
say, I'm like, you're gonna confuse one.
I have the two that are on here. The rye and probably supposed to do the rye last.
Yeah, well,
Did you try the rhubarb?
That's just
That's I'm saving that for the last.
This is it. Every place, and then I got a special cocktail for you at the end. Doesn't require any tokens.
Oh, awesome.
Little bars.
No, I got one left. What is it? This. Oh, smells like pine trees.
What do you have any?
I want to take for the rye.
Okay, that's not bad actually. Just what do you have there? This is the rye.
Cam, you should give it a shot.
Let me do this first.
It's easy. It's easy.
Somebody's gonna
Hold on. Let me do mine first. You're like, here, try this.
Somebody's gonna give me their gin.
You can try some of mine.
You're gonna have
Gin. So it's juniper up front.
I mean, it's
Now,
supposed to be your
there's
last
one. Taste rhubarb first, but you're definitely going to
Just finish that.
Oh, that smells
flavors
great.
up.
Nice botanical smell. Very junipery.
You don't want the moonshine.
Are you sure?
You'll hate it.
I've had moonshine before. This is not anything new to me.
I am
Here,
gonna
you
give
take
it
it.
That is super sweet.
You can finish it.
I love the rhubarb. Isn't that good? Yeah.
The World Equestrian Games, they awarded us those in 2010. Dr. Lyons knew that he was going to bring.
No. Because I can't flip it around once it starts.
All right. So cheers. Cheers. Cam's about to take it deep.
Now that's a lot better. That I can drink. I'm much more of a cocktail person than I am straight.
Well, you can be both.
All you're saying is that you like lower proof because your palate was making this into a high proof.
That's probably relatively true.
Yeah, but he took moonshine like a champ.
Eric, what'd you think of that? You're instantly on camera. I mean, I think it was a. What's going on?
I don't know.
Oh, it looks like freaking out.
Oh, that's because he wanted to get
Trying to silently.
Oh, he's trying to tell him. Oh, I see. Yeah, I thought it was a good first distillery to go to. I thought the beer half of it was way more boring than the bourbon half, but that probably wouldn't be surprising. Like,
well, it's kind of hard without audio.
yeah, that
too.
was my thought on it. I liked the tasting. Like, there were some really good whiskey bourbons or Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey?
Yeah.
Irish whiskey and bourbons that I liked. And I liked the moonshine. That was pretty good. That was
And the rhubarb gin.
Yeah, the rhubarb gin was really good. I'm not a huge gin person, but I liked that. I thought it was the first half. I was worried it was not going to be that great, but had I known it was two separate tastings,
That's fair.
I was a lot more interested.
When you said not that great, do you mean the tour as a whole?
I mean, the first half I was really
Usually when you say
bored,
that,
and I
it's
didn't
like
care about the beer side of it.
And if you're like,
But I cared a lot more about the bourbon side. And when we got to the
Still
tasting so early on in the beer half, I was like, oh, this is that is cool. But I didn't know that we would get a bourbon half as well, so that was a lot cooler to me.
Okay.
So cool, memorable, because not every single distillery has both a beer
Yeah,
side
and
and
whiskey.
a whiskey side, so that was cool.
Or gin for that matter.
Or gin, yeah. Yep.
Luke and Justin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I would echo what Eric said. I think it was super unique for distilleries here because it had not only like the bourbon, but it also had single malt whiskeys, had Irish whiskeys, which you never see, had beers, had gins, had moonshine. So it had a really cool variety, which especially on the signature trail, you don't really see a lot of variety. Usually that's more so in the craft trail, so I thought that was cool. The tour itself was very informative, so it was definitely cool. It was worth doing.
Okay.
Oh, you want to know what I think?
I mean, if it's the same thing, it's the same thing.
No, well, so, you know, a tour is a tour. Luke knows how I feel about tours. Like, they're fine.
Justin's in it for the drink and not the tour.
I've done, anything else? What if we gave him a bottle? That's what you're really
The answer is
That's all right.
I've done, like, at this point, maybe like 10 tours. Maybe not quite that many, but they sort of all blade together. I like him explaining things like at the table and stuff like that. Like, that's my favorite part, is when he's like, you know, this is from this and that. So it's not just about the drinking. It's like, I don't know, walking around and seeing. There's only so many rick houses you can see.
We didn't go to a rick house, though. Here's a question for
mean,
your
kind
audience,
of.
Cam. Is it tour or is it tour?
It is whatever you want it to be.
Where's the tower?
Put in the comments which one it is. I didn't mind that. I thought I think I enjoy learning about the process much more than I enjoy the actual drinking.
Well, right now you do.
Yeah, as of right now.
After your fifth one.
By far and away, my favorite drinks we had was that milk stout and the fucking the coffee thing, the Irish coffee or whatever it's called. Yeah, those are easily my favorites.
Are you a big stout guy?
I guess so. I'm learning that I am. I like Guinness.
Well, and you said you like Dragon Milk, right?
Last time I had it, I about vomited.
What do you think of the cream ales?
It sounds like you're kind
Cream
of
ales.
Irish.
Like
guy.
the vanilla bean one.
Oh, the ones the vanilla one is really good.
Yeah, I like that one.
Did anyone have the orange one? I didn't try the
No,
orange.
no one got the tangerine.
I feel like everyone would have.
Do you have an Irish background, Cam?
No, I'm very Polish.
Oh, it seems like you like Irish things.
There could be some Irish in me, but it's all like mostly Polish. I know for a fact.
on camera?
Yeah. Why? Do you not want to be?
No, I said no.
I am.
So,
I'm still filming,
I've
but
got
I'm
a
the one on
question
camera.
for you, Cam. When you were asking that question, and I saw you holding the camera at your waist, were you recording?
No.
Oh.
Not when I was
You were,
asking.
like secretly like
It's
recording.
officially open.
There were
I didn't want to
some
make him feel weird.
things I was recording, but I tried not to like.
You're like kind of holding it at your belt. Like I thought you were maybe.
Well, I
like,
didn't
under
want
the pretense of not.
I don't want to get the whole tour because I don't want to like people are paying for this. It's how the distillery makes money. I don't. It's like
Right.
I don't want to pirate the tour if that makes sense.
Right.
So I didn't want to like just get completely everything. Plus, I only have so much battery.
Yeah. Fair.
But yeah, first tour. I don't know. I'd say it's a success. Looking forward to the others.
But you didn't
Up until
like-
the drinking comes out.
I think the important side of it is just to say, tell us why you don't. What do you not like about bourbon?
Maybe we can do like
The
a tag
taste.
team thing.
Yeah,
We
but
can
the
do
taste,
tour
like
and
that's
then
so.
I'll tag
Be
you.
more specific. Like, what is it? Is it the like? Is it sour to you? Is it
It's
burning to you?
it's burning. I think it's like I don't know. I guess bitter is the word. It's just like you said. When I drink, 9 times out of 10, it's like Michelob Ultra or something. So my body is just not. My body and my palate aren't accustomed to just taking in like such strong flavors and large amounts of alcohol at once.
You're also used to drinking like a trolley style of drinking versus
Yeah, that's another. When I drink,
recreationally just
when I drink it,
solid.
9 times out of 10, it's because I'm planning to get a little wasted.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But
No, but
this
But-
is a different type of drink.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is not a kind of drinking I do often, if at all.
Yeah.
All right, so tour 1 success. Gonna get some barbecue. I'm not gonna film it. I'll pick it up at the next tour.
Doesn't worry, dude.
What?
Okay, so just leaving Blue Door Smokehouse. Real quick, I'll throw some footage of it on screen. I'm not gonna do a full review because that's not what this video is about. But it was, I got a brisket plate with some coleslaw and potato salad. Very good, especially the spicy sauce I had on the table. Very good, very good potato salad. Coleslaw was like slightly above average, but everything else. Luke, tell us about this one. Give us a quick 3-sentence synopsis.
I know very little about this one. It's on the craft trail. It was really highly rated here in Lexington, and that's what got me to pick it. So we'll find out. I'm going into this one fairly blind.
Very unlike you.
Bob and his brother were sitting in their basement trying to figure out why there was no bourbon distillery in a place called Bourbon County. So they started to go looking. They're also big history buffs, so they thought, where in the world do we get bourbon from? So actually going all the way back for whiskey, 12 weeks long, and we have 3 actual active owners. And then we have me, Austin, that you saw downstairs that stamped your book for you. And then another guy that was on lunch named Tyler. And then we have our distribution manager, who is normally never on site. I know, I apologize. So the counterweight still works with the elevator. Actually, you did about an hour ago before you all got here. I had to get some inventory from the second floor. It's the only way you can haul our barrels and our tanks up. Fun fact number 1, to get to the attic, you have to pull this to about 2.5 floors and walk out on that sheetwood. Fun fact number 2, I've never seen the attic or the I am not going up there. My boss's kids were trying to be all ballsy one day, and they climbed up that and climbed up there while the elevator. And plus the evaporation that happens with this would be outrageous for us. So therefore, we did not mash. We usually will have it going just for a little bit to heat up. Takes about 30 minutes to get. That too, like who's gonna compete with us? Like, come on. But also, we're one of the pretty prohibitions out bourbon in small barrels. So you know, when it comes down to it, there's some people that are like, oh, we're going to send this, or we're going to send that. We all separate in really good ways. So properly. Same thing if it gets too hot, our cooling tower can't pump properly, so we have to be really easy with it. So in here we do all of our fermentation at. You'll also see plenty of our inventory. This is where we keep all of our backstop. Remove them from our liquids, which is not exactly common. It's not uncommon. Some people do it. It's just more people don't than they do. The reason why we do take it out is because we're doing a single pass distillation on our copper jacket lined still. So it's gonna have a still, or it's gonna have like a stainless steel outer shell and inside shell. If it gets way too hot in there, all those grains are going to start to burn. Not aged at all. Whenever you taste it, you will get a lot of that heat on the front of your lips, the front of your tongue. You will see a trend in that with all of the pre-prohibition style bourbons. They all set very forward. But then you're going to get a nice sweet corn version of your white whiskey. This aged version of your white whiskey, St. Nashville, 62% corn, 19% rye, and 90% malted barley. Rye in a 6.4 gallon barrel for 12 months. So this has only been aged for a year. You are going to get a lot of that heat on the front, like I mentioned, but now you're going to take that flavor you just had and turn it into a nice vanilla, caramel, mellowness on the back part of your jaw, with a little bit of that oakiness that settles in right on the back part of the top of your top of your mouth. That's where I'm biting my tongue at.
It's 2 years?
1 year, 12 months.
Oh. It's baby bourbon.
Yeah, basically. A lot of people will, or a lot of people like to call it immature bourbon for a little while, and I will say that there are rye components of it that are definitely immature, but that's only because it's displayed differently. Instead of going to your nose, the back of your throat, that rye has not developed that much, so it sits really forward. If you do like a more tame rye kind of flavor, this does kind of mimic a sweeter rye to me. With a little bit of that uniqueness, that oak flavor that has. It's a great viscosity in my opinion. Whenever you throw it around the sides, do you know what viscosity means?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know what it meant for a long time.
Yeah, yes.
I know it's disgusting.
Swear to God.
I said it to my dad the other day, and he goes, "You can't use big words with me." I'm like, "Dad, you've been working for like 60 years. What's going on?" He's 60 years old, so I assume he's trying to get rid of one. What do y'all think about that?
It's whiskey already. It's bourbon.
He hasn't been converted yet.
Yeah.
He's on a journey.
I'm very much not a bourbon person.
This is
Hey, you have to acclimate your palate.
That's
before
what.
you
That's why
start
I'm.
getting it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. I'm like willing to convert myself.
A lot of the reason why I like this one is, in my opinion, definitely gives you a little bit more of that delayed Kentucky hug and settles in the back of your chest a little bit more as well. This has a lot more complexity and layers to it. Now my dad says it's blasphemous, but I do put this one over ice and let it set for a second, only because I'm a pansy and would like it to be diluted a little bit. However, he absolutely loves the flavors that are in it, and he likes it just removes your heat.
It's much like sweeter than the other one.
It definitely has that cherry that hangs in the back of it.
Yeah. It's spicy.
See, I get spiciness all
Really?
back there, and my dad gets a lot of that cherry sweetness, and I believe everybody that says it because I can definitely pick up the cherry. But whenever I take black cherry, I get more of that black spice and less of that cherry sweetness. Sweet bubblegum in my mouth, and it does taste like that little candiness, but for bourbon candiness. I enjoy this one. I love the way it's like at the very end of it.
I get what you mean like the juicy fruit. It's kind of like banana.
It's very light, but it just sits there, and you're like, but what is it? It's just the best way that we've been able to come up with it as a group is a hint of juicy fruit after you chewed it and like swallowed the juice.
Yeah.
Which I feel is a really weird description, but it's the only one that we can come up with that makes
specific
sense.
and it's good. I like it. Yeah.
I do have a weeded pre-prohibition. If you guys want to try it,
Is that the one with the multi?
it is.
Yes.
I'm good.
You sure?
I'll
Yes.
definitely take whatever is offered.
That one.
What?
This one's a good one. I'm just saying, especially if you're new to bourbon.
Jeez. Fine.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna do it
There you
there.
go.
I'll put that to the test.
Dare never worked anyway, did it? Peer pressure is real.
Yeah.
I almost think that this kind of reminds me a little bit of everything besides our Kentucky Spirits Limited. It doesn't really have that spiciness to it, but it does have layers like it does. Definitely more layered than the original Hartfield. Tell me the truth.
I like
I mean-
it. I like it.
I gotta try the rest of it.
Did you like that one?
What? Don't stare at. Don't stare at me.
How do you like it?
Yeah, I really like it. It's very
think it's more so. I think it's the smoothest one in my opinion. This is my favorite one. I think it gives me a little heat, but then the heat goes away with that smoky cigar, and then it doesn't really settle harsh. It just
The smoky cigar is very
Yeah, that's why I like it.
That's the one that I pull out for people if they're coming over to my house to drink. They're like, oh, well, what would you recommend? I'm like, oh, well, let me give you this. Here you go. Because I've never met anybody that literally tastes it like, ooh, I would never offer or drink that if offered. You know what I mean? If somebody offered it to you, would you drink it?
No.
Oh my God, you're the first person.
I cannot. It is not a slight against the company at all. I just can't stress to you.
I'm just giving you hell. I knew you were
I was gonna say I just can't stress how much of like a not whiskey or bourbon person I am.
I'm just giving you hell. I knew you were going to say no.
We're here till through Saturday, and our goal is by Saturday that he has a new opinion.
That I can take a sip without retching.
I would recommend.
Just saying that. I don't have anything specific.
Did you record my thoughts on the tour? I'm getting pissed.
I mean, I tried. You started talking before we even got into the car.
We'll get Eric first because he's crying out in desperation.
I didn't actually have 10 points. I just thought it was cool that it was like a very stripped back, not very polished presentation. But I said from the beginning, I said from the beginning that I like the craft ones better than the like
you said that
main
last
trail
also, yeah.
because the craft ones feel more relational. They feel more stripped down. They feel more like authentic, and I think there's weirdly a more of a buy-in as the customer to small business because we as individuals, especially in America, feel the pull to, or at least I believe we've been pushed to support the small business, and they perceive themselves as the small business a lot of the time when you're talking about craft distilleries. Like that one, it's 5 people. We hear that and we go, wow, we should support their business. You know what I mean? Versus like Maker's Mark where it's 8 buildings and it's, this wild, massive scale. It's cool, but I don't feel the pull to be like, wow, I should buy one of their bottles. The only reason I did buy one of theirs was because I wanted to be able to do the dip on the stuff. I wanted the experience of it. But I think that like Copper and Kings, like why we liked that was the strip back feel. Like we felt the guy was so chill, and the same thing happened with that one too, where they gave us extra pours with that guy as well because they're just super chill. Yeah. So I would say I also liked it because it was just us. Like it was a tour of 4. That's a lot more fun than a tour of old people like it was the last time where it's grandpa and grandma lugging behind.
Ageism. I agree.
Sorry, young scout.
I was the one that was the slowest on that tour.
That's true.
I agree with Sam.
I'm calling you grandpa, and I'm calling Luke grandma.
Got him.
All right, audience.
Oh, Jesus.
What were you trying to say?
I think Luke secretly wants to start a channel.
I agree with everything that Eric said. I just love, to what Eric said, I love the craft tours. They feel more like a passion project for the people that are doing it, especially when you have 5 people that are themselves doing all the mashing, fermenting, distilling, bottling, and everything. That's a lot of fun. I thought it was a really unique setting, being this single multi-story previous like auto garage that they've converted kind of uniquely into being a distillery with the rick house, like with all the bottling company, with all the components in one place. I thought that was cool, and I really thought that they did a great job explaining things. Like I had never been able to eat the grains before that was the first, so that was good.
Yeah,
so
you don't get that usually.
I definitely think like if someone is interested in like seeing what it is like actually in Kentucky for people that are just passionate about whiskey and want to make it themselves, like I think that's a great tour for it.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I like the small Santa's workshop type feel. Up to the elves for making the bourbon up there.
Yeah.
I have a lot of computers.
The
that
bourbon
was cool.
elves.
The tour guide was, she's decently cute.
All right.
Cut that part.
No, if anything, I'm gonna make that part louder.
Zoom in on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was cool. Like she gave us extra drinks and stuff. And Luke and her made a connection over Taylor Swift. The whiskeys were pretty young. I mean, a little bit They were
bit
young.
harsh.
It's true.
But they were,
It is
you
true.
know,
Yeah, I thought that.
but
The
for-
rum was the best.
by far.
But for being made with
Sadly,
foot
both-
But
pedals
rum
and-
doesn't need to be aged though nearly as long.
It doesn't, but I would say that sadly, both of the distilleries we've been to today, I liked the gin and then the rum the most.
Yes,
So it hasn't been the bourbon.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I would agree with that.
Also, I've learned that the only difference between whiskey and moonshine is the aging process. Literally the only difference, pretty much. And the mash, I'm sure. But.
Some people would actually say that moonshine is whiskey. That'd be a controversial comment, but there are people that say that the difference between distilled spirits is just the base ingredient. So like rum comes from sugarcane, tequila comes from agave. So
Yeah.
some people would say that even though it's unaged, like to be bourbon, it has to be aged. Like
Yeah.
they would give it a general definition and say it's just unaged whiskey.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All right. I think Luke's done.
I'm done.
The company we would tell our students and stories.
I think when I'm here, but I was thinking with the rubber thing.
Oh, like a drink mat. Strike some poses. Okay, I guess you're scared. I gotta piss.
Go pee in the women's bathroom.
Why aren't you in the women's bath?
I'll cover you. Because I have to
Cover
poop.
me.
I have to poop. If I go out there and there's I have to drop a deuce. You recording?
Yeah.
Now,
The rise are so
Yeah, totally. All right, go whenever.
What do you want me to say? You
What
want
just your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts were it was good. It was brief. I felt like there was going to be some Gone with the Wind music coming out of the walls. It didn't happen. Looks like they probably had to get rid of all the cotton fields before they put down the stuff they were using to make bourbon. One thing I did notice, great bourbon actually for how small they are. I have noticed on the tour, not a lot of boobs on the bourbon trail. Not a lot of endowment, but you know, I guess
cut that part.
we'll take. Yeah,
I just might.
Cut that part immediately. That should be the first thing that you cut from the entire
Luke.
video.
Yeah.
Luke.
All right, can someone reasonable speak now?
I'll start, John.
I loved it. I thought that it was delicious. I was shocked that most craft distilleries, the experience is amazing, but the whiskey is not quite up to par. But I thought the whiskey there was phenomenal, actually, especially their rye. All their finishes of rye, I thought that was very cool. I also really liked that they grow grains on site. So they currently grow blue corn and wheat on site. But she said their goal was in the next, like, what, did you say 5 years or something like that, to grow all their grains on site. So I thought the farm to bottle aspect was really cool. But yeah, overall, I mean, I bought a bottle, so it was great.
There you go. That's you buying a bottle is all that needs to be said.
I considered buying a bottle, but I did not.
No,
I wanted to wait, but I would say the best bourbon of the 3 we've had so far. But I think the previous distillery we had, I liked the tour, like the holistic experience more.
Yeah, but we didn't
But
get a tour here.
I would say that the bourbon was better. So and the individual who was running our tasting, which I don't know what I'm saying. I've had a lot now at this point. I had like 6 or 7, and I had most of Cam's, so I don't know what's happening.
So you saying you're wasted?
I'm not wasted, but I've definitely had
one
enough.
wasted
I've had
and
enough now that I'm not in a reasonable, like, I'm glad I'm not driving.
You've lost all sense of reason.
All I know is I watched Cam's lips, and it was a lot of,
Because it wasn't good.
She kept
But-
staring at Cam, so maybe that turned her on.
Yeah.
Can we talk everything just this? Like,
Yeah, this is gonna have to go on Pornhub, not YouTube.
Here's my thoughts. Honestly, on the distillery itself, for Bluegrass, I thought it was.
I'm saying the entertainment stuff.
The house was really cool. I think the history for it. It's a really young distillery, so I'm excited to see what happens. But even just in the last decade of bourbon that they've made, I'm really impressed with the bourbon. Considering we said all of us agree it's the best bourbon.
I was gonna say this is the first time I was able to drink some and not immediately retch my guts out.
Yeah. Well, you did make some pretty.
It's better, or do you think it's because you're growing? That's the real question.
I think maybe it's because I was drinking less of it, more so than anything, but also knowing how to drink it. Maybe inching my way there. My tummy still doesn't feel very good. We're trucking through.
Nearing the end of your day one, what is your thoughts on bourbon in terms of taste and
as of right now,
everything?
Still avoiding it like it's the plague.
So you're not quite.
What's your thoughts on so far the bourbon trail?
Listen, I may not like bourbon, but I can still appreciate what goes into it, the craftsmanship, the distilling process. I can get behind that stuff all day long. Just when the tasting comes out, walk right on by me, please. Walk right on by.
Can you describe what about it you didn't like? I guess I don't really understand.
The taste, like you said, it's just.
Is it the burn or is it the actual flavor?
I'd say it's a combination of the two.
I think if your palate is not acclimated to high proof spirits, there really is no flavor. The flavor is the burn.
Wait, say that again.
I think if your palate is not acclimated to high proof spirits, there really is no flavor. The flavor is the burn.
Yeah, you have to.
So then my question is, if that's the case, how would you acclimate somebody appropriately to getting flavor through
what we're doing, literally what we're doing right now, drinking it and not being an alcoholic. But going on the bourbon trail where you're exposed to lots of different flavors. You're being educated on what's going into the flavors, so that means that you have an awareness of what to look for when you are drinking.
Right.
And then having people that help you savor what you're drinking rather than, because the impulse when you drink something that you just get the burn is just to throw it back and be done with it, the way you throw back shots of vodka when you're 16 years old and you're whatever.
Right.
But I think being with people that do love it, being educated on what you're drinking, taking the time to do it, and being in an environment where it's not like you're on a bender, but you're literally just spending 3 days in the bourbon.
Well, I would agree, because I was saying that just for the sake of I haven't had alcohol in months, and yet I have some bourbon, and I still am able to get notes and flavors from it. It's not about consistency; it's about educating on what you on how to maybe experience the flavors. I don't know, I don't think it's just the way you sip it though. I think the way that they walk you through it is it's oh, this is how you sip it. I think it's also just the experience of trying a lot of different flavors.
Yeah, and I could be wildly wrong. I have no scientific basis. I can't say but my personal experience is almost like you have baby taste buds that get smacked in the face until they learn how to walk. And then, like you said, I can go a month or two without drinking whiskey, and it's not like I go back to having those baby taste buds.
Yeah, so you don't have to reacclimate yourself to it. But I do have a question for Cameron.
Yes.
Comparing and contrasting these two trails, which one's more your type?
What do you mean?
Style, flavors, more your type, just in general.
With whiskey?
Justin needs to be cut from the.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll. Yeah, I'm gonna need it.
All the goodies in the beauty shop, got some going non-stop, sipping on pink lemonade.
You can try an old fashioned.
Years stuff and walk away. Little ponytail girl grown up to be a woman, now she's gone in the blink of an eye. She needs suds in the bucket and the clothes hanging out tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You look up go times for us, or I'm just giving up? You give up on it? I'm giving up.
He's too hammered.
You can't handle it? You can't process the movie at this point?
What do you think of Whiskey Thief? Let's end the circumcision talk.
What are we talking about, circumcision?
Yeah. The circumcision.
That I prefer to not have to clean my foreskin all the time, so I am very satisfied having been circumcised as an infant.
I'm fine with it.
I'm keeping that in.
Oh, yeah.
I just think it's kind
That's
of
how I
weird.
feel. That's how I feel.
All right, Whiskey
And
Thief.
these are the type of discussions that happen when you're on your 4th distillery of the day. By the way.
Yeah, Whiskey Thief
No, I bring
hits.
this up in the morning.
I would want to
After my
say
first cup of coffee.
number two was my favorite of 5,
Number 5 was the best.
but I can't remember 5.
Eric's a little smashed.
I just don't recall. I've had so
Eric's like
much.
popping around back there.
Luke, thoughts? You've been here before.
Yeah, so I really like Whiskey Thief because Whiskey Thief's whole thing is they do not distribute. So what they originally did was they were a distillery that would contract distill. So what that means is craft distilleries that are just starting out that don't have the funds yet will buy distillate from Whiskey Thief, and they will even rent out space to age their product at this distillery. And then Whiskey Thief over time was like, the bourbon trail's getting really popular, we want to get in on the action, so they started doing a thing where you could just go there and you could taste the whiskey straight out of the barrel. So it's definitely a unique experience in the bourbon trail. It is uncut, unfiltered, it's foolproof, it's always a different selection of 5 every time you go. They always have like a food truck there. They have live music in the evenings. I think it's always a great place to go because it's not as formal as other places, and it's definitely a one-of-a-kind experience. So I always really like going to Whiskey Thief.
Justin.
What do I think? I think they had the dogs were pretty good. They had a lot of good dogs. I didn't
Yeah, the
know
food
any
was
of
good.
I basically just had them keep giving me the alcohol. I didn't really look at what it was. It was all pretty decent. The food was great. The women didn't really take enough of a look to know.
Anyway,
I would actually back up the I would say the rye, which I remember was 4, I think.
Or they can say the dog.
Was it 5?
Yeah.
Rye and number 2 were my favorite, and I would say the experience of live music, good food, and alcohol at your own pace is a win. Although I will say it was broiling hot out there.
it was very hot.
Was it broiling?
I didn't mind it. I'm definitely over bourbon at this point in the day and can't even tolerate the thought of it. I liked the food. Good food. I liked how there's food at this one. This one was very much like, it was technically a tasting, but it was more of like a hangout, I would say. It's not so much like an official thing. You just kind of show up and go whatever you want. As far as vibes are concerned, probably my favorite of the day. But I think like overall package, Hartfield and Co. was my favorite.
Interesting.
Hartfield and Coke, what was that? That was
The second one.
Yeah, the second one was cool. I
the
would agree
cats.
with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Like, it was definitely the
would
most
say-
chill one.
I would say, in fairness, the first time we had Whiskey Thief, it was the first distillery of the day.
That's interesting.
And I don't,
That was the first time.
And he doesn't remember the rest of the day.
I don't know if I could.
That was also your introduction to the bourbon.
It's true. And I think a slow introduction was better than just like bourbon and everything informational about it.
He was just pissing all over the barn walls.
That's not what I said.
At that point,
That's not
he
what I
was
said.
out of control.
Not a chance.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention, I'll put some footage of it up. I got a brat with some coleslaw, jalapenos, and I think some kind of mustard on it. Really good. Potato salad was good, but not as good as the potato salad I had earlier. But I think that's it for now.
Connoisseur of potato salad.
Yeah, well, I might pick this back up tomorrow, might later tonight, we'll see.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah,
it's not even the end of the video.
And join.
Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been to most of these places. Well, none of the places actually that we went last.
Top Gun.
What you do know is that someone has lived and owned this home from 1800 all the way up until 2016. In that time, it was owned by the Ballard family. Now, the Ballard family were farmers. They owned all 92 acres of this land. They are also the family that did build that red barn over on our left-hand side. Now, what they used all 92 acres for were to raise peacocks. This was one big giant peacock farm before it was a distillery. As a matter of fact, a part of our contract with the Ballard family. And at the very end of the video, you will get a quick look at Don Lux, our founder. So, without further ado, we're going to get this video started. This is the smallest brick house on this property.
That smells like wood and
This
bourbon.
brick house only holds, I say only, but about 19,200 barrels. Most of our other brick houses are at around 20,000. Other than brick house number 9 and 8 are two largest, holding 24,000 barrels each. Now, instead of building 10 brick houses like we originally had planned, we actually bought.
Toss in the land.
Let's do this on my phone until I pull my camera out. Look at this.
You knew, Eric.
So thoughts on that one?
Thoughts on it? Eric should go first because I just thought it was absolutely
Hey,
fantastic.
I thought this was the best one so far. I will say I wanted more time to retaste my drinks, so I had like more than I was prepared for. But I felt like the bourbon was the best bourbon we've had, and I really like the experience of getting to pull the
thief or whatever it's called.
Thieving, yeah. So we did it with the thief yesterday.
whatever. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called barrel thieving.
Oh, okay.
That's the actual term.
Yeah, when you were saying that, I was like, oh, that name makes way more sense now.
Yeah, that's why it's called whiskey thief.
That was a really cool element of it. And
They do it.
Yeah.
They do it.
I was messed up.
Barrel thieving is just taking it directly from the
It
barrel.
is
into
hot
your
though.
glass.
I'll give you that.
So I loved it. I thought it was our first premium tasting of this trip. And I thought that all of the whiskeys we tasted were obviously a higher class of whiskey than we'd had previously.
Yeah, I agree.
There were two of them that I thought were delicious that they distribute where we live, but otherwise they would be worthy of a bottle purchase. I thought it was really cool that they paired them with chocolates. And I also really liked that at the ending we got to go to the rick house and do a barrel thieving in the rick house. I was not expecting that. And yeah, I think that was a fantastic experience. Highly recommend doing a premium tasting at Lux Row.
Justin, any thoughts?
It was a very good experience. Great bourbons. It was obviously a premium tasting. I cannot speak to the attractiveness of women because we didn't.
All right,
have
that's
it.
enough of that. As far as I'm concerned, by far and away the easiest drinking, the least amount of retching and gagging I've done so far. That being said, I still wasn't like enjoying it. Shut the fuck up. But it was more tolerable, I'll say is a better word. I think the chocolate went a long way in pairing it with something, because as Good Mythical Morning knows, chocolate will cover a world of hurt in terms of taste. It's a very powerful flavor. It'll cover up a lot. But yeah, but even still, I was still getting this. I'd say this is the first time where I was able to even like keep it in my mouth long enough to like get specific notes of fruit and stuff.
That is what she said. That is absolutely what she said.
All right.
I was picking up lots of jizz in it.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Jizz or gin? They don't make gin.
Both. But yeah, I thought it was really cool how
I
like
apologize for that.
I'm still recording.
yeah. I thought it was really cool how an employee gets to like pick what they bottle.
Yeah,
that was
an
super
awesome
cool.
call out. Yeah,
And
that
like
was
put the
cool.
name on.
I
the
wanted to
bottle and
ask the
everything.
process of that. Like, is it like down the ballot line, or like what is that? How does it
He
work?
said it was on their yearly anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
So like
coolest thing about
once a year they get to do
Every
that.
anniversary.
Oh
you
my
have,
gosh,
you
I
get to
would
go barrel
work
pick.
there so fast.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
That alone, the moment that happens, I'd be like, hey, I'm quitting.
and then
God, you're an easy sell.
and then the
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome. Once in a lifetime to be able to get a print of like that type of. I feel like that.
Cool.
and then
That's the only thing you care about in a job.
people owning the barrels too was
Oh my
really cool.
God.
Yeah, it was. It's Rick House, the way they have it designed with this big open space at the front and a wall of barrels to see. Like, Justin's seen a lot of Rick Houses. He's kind of like, I'm done seeing them. But if you see one that's unique, that is a unique Rick House to see.
Yeah. So definitely one of my
Yeah, it's 6 stories is like the maximum height that you can have for a rick house, and they max out that 6 stories and they expose it so you can see it. It is, as he was saying, it's not the tallest one. They're all six rows, but you can see it. They're all extra rows.
Yeah,
But-
the exposure in the front makes it.
Exposure in other contexts also be good.
I think I like Hartfield and Company more, just as like an overall like tour and experience. But
Well, we know you do.
But this was like a close second.
Because you have.
Alright.
No, just because I like the small operation stuff, but this one was like, and having a tasting where it's like someone who clearly, not that no one we've had so far knows what they're talking about, but this guy was like clearly knew of the good amount, and like I said, I think the pairings went a long way for me as well.
He was well trained and well educated.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
Shots accidentally fired at everybody else on our tour.
I'm so sorry.
Excuse me. Thank you. Big on the southern accents here.
You what?
Big on the southern accents here. I can't relate. Me being a Michigan boy and all.
Are all of you all from Missouri?
I'm from Michigan.
Michigan, okay.
Thank you.
So this is everybody's first time here. Y'all have maybe tried a couple of our products before. Y'all have the hand-pick tasting today, so y'all products are on our few distillery exclusive, and then obviously a product or two that you can find pretty much everywhere. This right here is our new PUV tasting lunch where we host all of our single barrel hand picks. So you all get to enjoy this, and it's air conditioned, which is the biggest plus about it. So let me get this unlocked. You'll go ahead and come on in, grab yourself a seat, preferably in front of some whiskey.
Thank you. Ooh, I like this.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to be jamming out right now.
Hey, that's all right.
Surprise for you all. It is outside though, but we're going to get this air conditioned and just soak it all in, okay? But it is. I'll tell you what, I'll let y'all get a sample of it at the bar because we don't have any in here.
Eric, what were your thoughts on that one?
Yellowstone was one of my favorites so far. I loved all, 6?
We had 7.
Yeah, in total we had 7 different.
Oh yeah, because we had that one too. Forgot about that. Yeah, so 7. All 7 were amazing. 2 of them were some of the most.
5, then we went to the barrel, then we went to that.
2 of the tastings we had were some of the most like unique bourbon flavor I think I've ever had. One was really earthy,
I thought you were saying
and then
no.
another one gave a very. I think he used the word prohibition
Yeah.
taste, and I just think those were awesome.
So you liked like that really earthy flavor?
I enjoyed it a lot, but I think the price was more than I was wanting to spend.
Probably more than a lot of people would be
Clearly
wanting
it
to
was
spend.
more than all of us were willing to, since
Yeah.
we did not leave with the bottle.
Listen,
Yeah.
that $250 bottle, the Prohibition bottle.
What would it have had to cost for you to buy?
Maybe like 100 flat. 100 flat, I'd be like,
So it
okay.
was more than double.
Because I spent
Yeah,
that.
2.5
I
times.
spent $100 on a what is it? Not embroidered. What is the word I'm trying to think of? Engraved like bottle at Angel's Envy of the rye, and that was like the top of the line that I was
worth
wanting
it.
to spend, and I loved that a lot. So I'm glad I spent that. But I don't think that bottle is worth $250. I think that's a little egregious. I also
That's
think
a lot for anything.
they kind of very obviously lean on, hey, this is a limited deal, so we're gonna charge out the cheeks on you. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Justin. Luke, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Eric. I technically preferred the last place that we were at, but I think a premium tasting is a fantastic experience. I don't think last time with you, Eric, I don't think we had any premium tastings on our last trip. Justin and I had done one previously at Heaven Hill, but I really like premium tastings. I think they give you a high quality flavor portfolio of the distillery that you're at, and most people don't do them because most people either just want to do the cheap like $10 in and out tasting or the tour because they're not on their first time ever here. So it's usually pretty intimate, like there's less people on them, and they have a lot of pairing stuff. Like I really like their use of the oyster crackers, actually, like this salty, unflavorful food to reset your palate. Yeah, it's great. Really good.
Justin?
Yeah, we've had a great day so far. Hope it keeps up. Tastings aren't just tasting. They show you a nice video that gives you the overview of the distillery, everything that they do. So much so that you don't actually need a tour generally. But
kind of low key.
Only if you've never done a tour. If you've never done a tour before, I feel like you must do a tour.
High quality stuff, really good. I like that middle one a lot. I like the peaty flavor. As far as the females go.
All right, that's enough of that. So those two earthy ones are definitely the two most unique ones in general, like this whole trip so far. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in that video when they were showing the barrels, like when they were charring the barrels, it was the exact same clips from the prior place.
Yeah, I think that Lexro gave us a discount to this place on our little tasting there, and their video file was called LU-RO- was the first couple things. So clearly Lexro has either like a partnership or something with them, and they said that their barrels are aged at Lexro, and they just distill and bottle at Limestone Branch. So they clearly have a significant partnership with Lexro.
I will say, I didn't realize how small Yellowstone was.
Yeah, that was our craft tour of the day.
I didn't know they were even craft. Like I thought they were a much larger scale thing. Like my brother-in-law loves Yellowstone, and I didn't even realize that it was a small craft. Like the building is. I forgot to ask how many bottles they distill a year, but it can't be tons.
Well, it has to be below the minimum to be a signature. That is on the craft.
Which is what, 30,000?
It takes up a large amount.
Don't quote us on any number. I don't know them.
It takes up a large.
Do you want me to look it up?
Wyoming.
You want me to look it up?
Yeah.
What is it? What qualifies as craft?
Yeah, but they just named it after Yellowstone. Back before it was
random.
like.
Is it how many bottles? Is it?
Yeah, the difference between a craft and a signature is based on your barrel production per year. So based on how much you physically produce as a distillery in a calendar year.
Barrel
and you have to pay more, I think, because like Buffalo Trace, for instance, would be on the signature trail, but they refuse to pay the fee to be part of the Bourbon Trail, which whatever. I like Bourbon Trail, so.
Oh wait, that's not
that
right.
Can't be
Hold
right.
on.
That is an absurd amount.
Hold on. This isn't right. What's the difference?
But overall, I think the premium tastings are a lot better considering you get all the pairings, and probably just because it's higher quality liquor. So it's like goes down smoother, a lot more tolerable versus like bottom shelf pop off vodka. But I don't know. It's just that it could just be me being more acclimated to the process of drinking it, that it's getting more and more tolerable.
That's not day one.
What?
That's why we didn't do it on day one.
Fair. So yeah, there you go.
Like I was the expert collector, yeah.
sir.
Thanks. Hello.
How are the Jaguars going to be this year? I think they're going to be. Five on the other side, try to get the light out of your eyes, okay? So if y'all would follow me.
Staves, 6 steel hoops, 2 lids, 12 rivets, and 1 bone.
This table's not set unless you are real thirsty for H2O.
That's the table I belong at.
This one was cool, but I don't think this was one of my favorites.
This one,
Wow.
I'd say this one's like, I mean,
I thought
obviously.
we were on me, but I guess we're on you. Here, I have to take the camera.
Okay, what'd you think?
I thought it was.
Distillery number 3, people.
I thought the best one of them was by far the rye of the 5 we tried. But the other ones were fine, but I didn't think any of them were like nearly as good, in my opinion. But that's just, I don't know. The guy was cool. I felt like the 180 show was like
Stupid.
fine.
That was more of a gimmick than anything.
Well, we'll have
Yeah.
a different perspective coming shortly.
Well, the show?
Well, you'll get to Justin next.
Okay, anyway, is that all you have to say?
That's
or-
all I have to say.
All right, Justin. Not Justin, Luke. You guys are just so similar.
Oh, well, no.
You guys have just so much the equal amounts of hair on your head, it's hard to tell you apart.
All right, audience. I'm sure you understand that Cam is not a reliable narrator at this point in your journey.
I'm not gonna disagree.
So anyway, Heaven Hill. I like Heaven Hill. This is my second time doing Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill is really cool because of the fact that they are by far the largest privately owned distillery. They
In the U.S. or in Kentucky?
Oh, in the
Or
U.S.
world,
And
okay.
I don't know for sure worldwide, but definitely in the U.S. And they're about to be the largest distiller, period, and they will still be privately owned. They have a lot of really rare products, and because they're privately owned, they do a cool thing where every morning, that parking lot will be packed of people waiting for them to open, and they release 10 bottles of numerous different surprise really rare brands of theirs, just bottle shop only. So in that case, he was talking about the one that they had, the Henry McKenna 10-year that they released. So they do a lot of really cool things. They're very involved in the community. I partially agree with Eric. I think that Lux Row had a better selection for our tasting, but I thought that this was better than Limestone Ranch was. Last time we came, they had Parker's Heritage, orange curacao finish, and that was the best thing I tasted that entire trip. So they definitely rotate their premium products and their premium tasting. It's well worth it. It's cool. That's my thoughts.
Justin?
Good solid showing from Heaven Hill. They had a good lineup. I'm a regular Elijah Craig drinker. It's a good one if you just.
Yeah, Small Batch is a great rail bourbon.
It's a good rail bourbon if you're, if you're a little bit more. If you have more money and your go-to bourbon isn't. Just,
Maybe you should preface what a rail drink is.
Well, okay, so a rail drink
It's the
is
bourbon you drink right before you rail.
No, yes. No, the rail liquor is what's on the actual at hand on the rail when you order a drink, a cocktail. They just grab it and pour it.
It's your base.
It's your base,
Yeah.
basically. So if
Your-
you did
your go-to.
Yeah, so if you did a
So for Eric,
Long
it's a
Island
Wild Turkey
Long Island iced tea,
Yes.
which uses a lot of bourbon or a lot of liquors, they would just take it from the rail. Now if you get top shelf, it means they're going to turn around and they're going to grab one that's more rare.
Yeah, for me, it's Wild Turkey 101. For Luke, it's Pappy 20-year. For Justin, it's, Jim Beam, White.
I didn't say that.
For Cam, it's, Bud Light Seltzer.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
High Noon, Pineapple Guava.
No, the typical
High noons are good.
Typical rail bourbon would be like Jim Beam, just like Jim Beam.
Jim Beam.
So I didn't mind that one. I don't know. I'd say I think I agree that it was better than Limestone, but not as good as Lux Row. I think Lux Row might be the best of the day, depending on how this fucking Wild Turkey goes. This is actually one of the few.
Okay.
I've actually had wild turkey before, so I kind of know what I'm getting into. But yeah, that one, the chocolates are the highlight of the day for me. The chocolate and the oyster crackers are what I'm really enjoying.
The oyster crackers were a nice touch at Limestone Bridge, I will say that.
So yeah, but, you know.
That helped to kind of clear the
Hey, enough of the artistic liberties here.
Anyway.
Even better. That's the direction.
Oh shit.
Where's the
Wow, it is crowded.
I'm gonna lock you in, Ben.
We good enough? Perfect. I was like, shoot, I thought I counted 14. How's everybody's birthday?
You know the drill.
I think this was probably one of the better ones we had.
Okay. Anyway.
You get copyright claimed.
That's alright.
That's where Justin had to go.
Anyway, one of the best
you can't
ones.
play Taylor, you'll get sued.
One of the best ones, apparently. What else?
I think it's definitely the was it 4 or was it 5?
4.
4 we tried were really good.
We tried for you.
The last one was, like Luke said, it's essentially the top shelf stuff I have, which is surprising that they would give us anything top shelf. We didn't get to try anything top shelf at any of the other ones today.
Well, we tried top shelf, just not literal.
Which one was the top shelf? That last
The
one?
last one.
So their Master's Keep collection is like the rarest thing they release every year, which most distilleries, even in the premium tasting, they basically give you their top shelf, but not their literal very best. So the unique thing they did was give us their literal best bottle that they release once a year, and it's different every year. But they gave us the one from 2 years ago, which we had not had elsewhere. We'd had their best minus their literal best, and here they gave us their literal best. So that was cool.
Do you have any more thoughts?
I mean,
You can say
there
no.
wasn't a ton happening. I thought it was cool we got to meet the master distiller and get a photo with him.
He had a big old spot on the top of his head.
Yeah, pause your fucking video. He's like survived multiple forms of cancer, including
What, brain cancer?
No, including what you took a picture of and sent us.
Okay. So,
We're still on camera, right?
yeah. Luke, you already gave your thoughts?
So my thoughts on Wild Turkey. No, I think that Wild Turkey is really cool because in your heyday of bourbon making, like the heyday being the people that were really inventive here, because in the 80s and the 90s, nobody wanted bourbon. It was all about clear spirits, like your flavored vodkas and stuff like that. And in Kentucky then, like you kind of referenced in our tasting, it was hard to even give away bourbon. And so you had 3 really big master distillers. You had Booker No at Jim Beam, you had Jimmy Russell at Wild Turkey, and you had Elmer T. Lee at Buffalo Trace. And they kind of pioneered, like, how do we get people to care about our product? And they quite literally invented the idea of doing single barrels doing special releases, like creating a supply and demand around a product that had no supply and demand. And the others are all kind of gone, and Jimmy Russell is still actively working at the distilleries, and because he I think is aware of the legacy that him and his peers have left on the industry, he likes to hang out at Wild Turkey.
Are the other guys dead, or are they just not working anymore?
Both dead and retired, depending on. And so it's cool that he chooses to do that and like be available to people. I had been to Wild Turkey previously, but he wasn't here, and he like shows up randomly. So it was really cool that he was here just for us to, because he is a significant person in the history of the bourbon industry in the U.S. And then also, I thought the fact that they gave us their literal best bottle that they release as part of a tasting is really unique. So I thought those things are really cool. I thought the Rare Breed Rye was my favorite, but I like that they clearly, as a major like high-level signature trail distillery, they clearly invest in the experience of going to their distillery. So I like that's cool.
I mean, yeah, it's what I said when we bought the bottles. Like, we're literally buying history. Like, it's a cool opportunity that we won't probably ever get again.
Justin, thoughts?
I've always been a big fan of the bird. You know, flip the bird to the rest of the bourbon industry. I've always been a big fan of Rare Breed, Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Everything they make is good. The rye, I think, which is only very slightly rye, was very good there.
Yeah, barely rye.
It's interesting. There was a record number of cell phones that went off during our
Yeah, honestly.
That's true.
And
You can tell it was the last tasting of the day for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of secret knowledge that we were told that was not supposed to be told was
Because you know
end
that
of
the people doing the tastings are also tasting their product throughout the day, so...
Yeah. It was definitely end of the day material, but I think we are also end of the day material in terms of
Whoa.
What's crazy though is Jimmy Russell, who we all got a bottle signed by him. I don't know how old he actually is, but they had a sign on the wall saying that it was his 70-year anniversary, and our tasting guy referenced him coming up with something in 1958 or something like that. What did he say?
I can't remember.
So that would imply that he literally has been a distiller for 70 years.
What's his name? Jimmy what?
Jimmy Russell. So that's an insane amount of history. Even though he kind of just sits there and says, "Hey, how you doing?" signing your bottle, his impact on the industry is huge. So that's a really fun experience for us.
He passed his wisdom on to his younger son Eddie, but he's at the age of 80.
When was that written?
So he must have been a teenager literally when he started distilling for
He is a bit of an older figure, which means all the sooner that our signed bottles will become valuable. With his passing,
Just to make sure.
Anyway, it was a cool final tasting. We have some more fun to have tonight, but it was a cool final tasting for the day.
Okay, hold on. Jimmy became a master distiller in 1967. He's the third master distiller enshrined in the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. He became a master distiller in 1967, but he became enshrined in the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame in 2000.
Okay.
And now he is known as the Buddha of bourbon.
Buddha.
Yeah, because he's the oldest person.
And it literally
around
says,
still working in it.
what's cool is it literally says Jimmy still roams the distillery, but often alongside his son Eddie, a master distiller and Hall of Fame now Hall of Fame famer himself.
That's cool.
Oh, it says Jimmy still
Wait,
wanders.
so we need Cam's thoughts, nice.
Jimmy still wanders
Or we
the
need
distillery
Justin- we haven't had
sometimes
Justin's
before his
thoughts.
wet nurse finds him and pulls him back.
Those
into
are
the
Justin's
testosterone.
thoughts. So now on to Cam.
Yeah. Justin's thoughts are immediately cut short every time due to YouTube guidelines.
Okay, hold up. One quick thing.
Guidelines,
Hold up.
guidelines.
One quick thing.
Everything I'm saying is aged.
One quick thing. Let's
He
hear it.
first. Jimmy first touched it.
Quick?
He started at Wild Turkey in 1954,
Okay.
but
There you go.
his 68th year was in 2018 at Wild Turkey.
So this would be his
that's probably
74th.
So yeah, that's why they had the sign that said 70 years. I'm still.
So Anyway, I don't know what that says about his age, but there you go.
He's old. Let's end it at that.
It's history. That's all I got.
So my thoughts on it. Definitely one of the... That one, what was the Limestone was the second one we went to?
Yes, sir.
That one, those two are competing for the worst of the day.
What, the turkey and the stone?
Yeah, and the Limestone. I was happy to only see 4 glasses, but was shitting bricks when I saw no pairings and a very small glass of water. So I immediately was like, oh no. But I trucked through it just because I'm, like, you know, all-American badass. The third one of those that we had, whatever one it was the best one.
Rare breed rye.
Yeah, the rare breed rye. That was the best one. The second one was kind of I kind of had to choke it down a little bit.
You're used to that?
Yeah, I'm really good at just really forcing myself to drink shit at this point.
Oh, shut the...
But yeah, thankful to be done for the day. Unlike...
We're not done.
Well, with, like,
With
tastings.
things,
Yeah.
We're halfway through the day, actually.
Alright.
But, with,
Everything's optional at this point.
with
Nothing's
Whiskey
optional.
Thief yesterday, I had to stop because I just could not drink anymore. I had to, like... I missed out on, like, 2 or 3 different kinds of tastings.
Pussied out.
Yeah, I don't care. Call me that.
Pussy.
But this one I had every single one, so
Just
I'm
kidding.
getting there. But I definitely am more of a fan of the, whatever they're called, premium tastings. More so than just the regular tastings. But yeah, thankful to be done for the day. And then?
And then this is you. Jack. Matt.
Thank you.
These stamps will get you 20% off any of the t-shirts you see on my back now.
So I'd say we're going to resist the urge together to shoot all that back like a shot, unless you absolutely can't help yourselves and there's...
All right, Eric, thoughts?
I think there's a deer over there.
All right, those are not what thoughts I was looking for, but okay.
I would say that, yeah, like I'm going over to Bullet to recycle. Anyway, I thought the initial introduction was not my favorite, but the last 2 were good. The rye and the whatever it was it uncut, 10-year uncut?
Mm-hmm.
The last one was not the 10-year, it was their regular, but had barrel proof.
Barrel proof. Their barrel proof bottle was very good as well.
The last one?
Yeah, the last it was 4 drinks. One was the standard shelf, Bullet. I think the next one was a 10-year or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was a rye, and then the last one was barrel proof. The barrel proof and the rye were the best. Our guy was nice enough. I thought it was fine. Yeah.
All right.
It was a fine experience.
All right, Luke. What book do you have written this time?
I thought that it was a cool concept. I liked how they used the lighting and the sounds as well as the scent box things.
The sounds were kind of too loud at times, or
Yeah,
he
they
needed
were.
to speak up,
They
one of the
were.
two.
Yeah, and some of the sound choices were weird. Like, why did they have one that's just people talking?
Yeah, I thought that was people outside, and then I was like, wait, that's the music.
Yeah, that was like
What?
supposed to be
Yeah.
springtime.
Yeah, that
so I was
was-
like, I guess people are like outside doing stuff during
Yeah,
spring.
like a barbecue or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. I definitely like the concept more than I liked the execution of it. But I do think it's a cool concept to, like, with your nose and your sound and your sight, like, add more senses than just what you're tasting. As far as the products go, they don't really have that wide of a range, so I thought the whiskeys were just alright. And I definitely thought the place itself was a bit uppity, and also...
What do you mean a bit
they-
uppity? Of course it was uppity. It's Bullet.
What's wrong with that?
but it was a bit more uppity even than like Heaven Hill, I would say. Like they kind of just had a weird aura about themselves, and I didn't like, they got us off on the wrong foot with calling us to warn us that if we are not right on time, we won't be part of the tour, even though we did show up before the time our tour.
We totally.
So that kind of is annoying. So anyway, it's a hit or miss for me.
Okay.
I did appreciate the 5-minute warning call. I'm used to those for 35 years of living, 18 of which were with my mom. She would do those calls quite a bit in the morning. The experience of the tasting, it was one of sight and sound and taste. They did miss the feel, the textural feel. So my recommendation would be to have some things that you can kind of just touch to also pair with the tasting.
Why are you touching like that?
Something kind of like maybe they give you like a foam jelly thing or something that really pairs well with the sight and sounds.
What?
He's just saying
so
things just for the sake of comedy.
So yeah, I think that they need to incorporate touch into the experience because they went halfway, they didn't go the full way. The bullet, it's never been actually my favorite of the. It's not like Wild Turkey for me. It's good. It's good. I didn't judge the place for being uppity, as Luke likes to say.
Yeah.
Luke's the sort of person that becomes judgmental for those who want a slightly more rarefied experience. That's what
how much was your drink? How much was your drink?
I like luxurious experiences.
My drink was slightly inappropriately priced.
How much?
Higher.
That's the thing.
Yeah, how much?
I don't like when someone gives
I
me
didn't
a
look at it,
false
but it
luxurious
probably like in the
experience.
teens.
Wow. Okay, here's
that's not for. Well, high teens.
Okay.
For kind of a combination of lemonade.
Anyway,
and
I think we've said enough.
I think
Now,
I would I would also say, like, from a price perspective, they have a really limited selection, and they were easily the most expensive in their gift shop, which I just thought was like, why? Like, I don't understand. Like, when we were going to other places, I was looking for one of these. I can grab it really quick, but one of these mats I wanted to buy.
One of these Jack mats.
Yes, one of these mats I wanted to buy, and this one was $10 more than any of the other ones around.
But you also like Bullet, so
Bullet is a great mixer, but I just don't think it's like.
it's your rail bourbon, as we've come to learn.
I guess I don't mix a lot of. But anyway, that being said,
Yeah,
it's
'cause you're
just
a fucking lunatic.
I thought it was just. I don't know.
Got his rail bourbon last night at Taj.
Here, I'm interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, let's hear it, Cam.
So, that rye, the 95 rye that we had is probably, I use this term loosely because I still wouldn't say I like it, but probably my favorite drink so far of the whole tour.
Really?
Yes. I found that one to be the most tolerable, but again, I still wouldn't say I enjoyed it. I did kind of like the little scent orbs. I thought that was kind of a cool little neat thing that wasn't like, again, I'd rather just have normal eating pairings to try and mellow out the flavor, but I'm down to try something new, and that was something we haven't done yet, so that was cool. I did like how they kind of tried to do like a whole vibe thing with the music and the lighting, but I feel like they kind of half-assed that whole aspect of it.
They also missed touch sensation.
They were just kind of like, hey, what can we do that other people don't? And they were like, we could like play music and stuff. And like, yeah, okay, let's do that. That's kind of probably how they developed that. But I don't know, I didn't get this uppity sense that you guys did.
I definitely did get the uppity sense.
Okay.
If they're like calling you 5 minutes before, like,
yeah, that
hey,
was kind of stupid.
Hey,
I would say
we'll make it.
I would say you should call 5 minutes after, if anything, of when like the scheduled tour is, to like just kind of call us and assume we forgot and like assume we're gonna be late is kind of a stupid thing. Especially since we were like 1 minute away from pulling into their parking lot.
We still had
some of the other distilleries we went to did like a 30-minute out text. It was like, hey, press 1 to confirm you're still coming, or 2 to cancel, because a lot of places have walk-ups that are like, hey, can I get in? So they could have done that. They didn't have to call and be like, hey, you have 5 minutes or you're out.
Well, also, if I'm getting a call like that, I'm assuming we are starting the moment we walk in the doors, and they were like, hey, you got a couple minutes, just lounge around.
Yeah, that I agree. It's like, it makes it seem like we're waiting on you and you guys
Yeah,
are
I'd-
inconveniencing us.
I'd be a little more lenient on that if they actually were waiting on us, but that's very clearly not what what was happening. So then it's like, why even bother fucking calling?
Yep, agreed.
But yeah. So that rye whiskey though, definitely my favorite of the tour.
Interesting.
I don't get out much.
Wow, this place looks nice. I said it first.
Hi there. Good. How are you? Fantastic. What you got? What are you doing today? Okay.
Major of this.
Yeah.
That's how? And then we're gonna drink. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's get started.
You know the drill.
I need peanut butter to take away the flavor of the bourbon.
So you didn't like it?
I can't tell you what was what because it was all so not good.
Okay. Is that all you have to
Like,
say?
literally none of them stuck out to me as good. The second one was okay, but I thought the first one was fine. And then it got worse and worse by the end. I was like, I feel like my senses have been assaulted.
All right, bold words. But I'm assuming we're about to hear bolder.
So here's the thing. The experience itself, awful. No like tasting notes provided. No talking you through what you were tasting. There were like coffee beans in a little cup in front of you, presumably to help with palate cleansing.
I was gonna say, which she never even mentioned.
No mention of it. No mention of anything. In fact, when she poured the first drink for everybody and then just said, "Here's the next one," I was like, "Oh, were we supposed to drink this?" Like I thought there was gonna be some ceremony.
Yeah, I was like looking around and I was like, oh well, they
Yeah.
didn't. I looked at you guys. I'm like, oh, they didn't drink it. But then I looked across and they were like, I was like, oh, they did drink it. Am I supposed to drink
So,
this?
I guess that's what you were supposed to do. I don't know. It was insanely casual, which doesn't have to be a bad thing. However, the whiskey was god awful. Like, there was a 6-year wheated bourbon that I could have sworn to you was only 6 months old. That was how harsh and flavorless and just bad it was. Really disappointed because I thought that it was a cool concept and it looked cool when we went there, but I was exceptionally disappointed. Unquestionably the worst experience and tasting whiskey of the trip.
Justin, thoughts?
Well, it's interesting, it is female owned and run, and so this is what we can expect. It does have the interesting effect that when you have a glass of it, you will talk more and complain about everything, as I found. So there is that. The whiskey, they're trying, gotta get some girls in there, but just like the WNBA, nobody's watching. Bring out the big boys, the pappies. I'm just kidding. Preservation Distillery, women owned and run, great distillery. This one, I just didn't like it that much. I actually didn't mind the last one. It had kind of a nice woody taste on it, but I was confused by the whole ritual of sipping, and there were random coffee beans there, which was nice as a thing that took away the flavor of the bourbon entirely.
Here's an interesting note. So Justin has always, if I've just been like, yeah, I don't really want to finish these, for years, he will finish whatever I don't want to finish. For the first time in over a decade, I asked if he wanted to finish mine, and he said no. So that tells you something.
Well, no, actually, I said
No, you literally shook your head.
I want to do honor to Jeff the Greek. I did say I'm okay, and I did end up finishing it. However, I will say that I have a long history with Smirnoff vodka, so I know how to down those things, and I know the value of the fact that it's just alcohol. there's a value in that in and of itself.
Are we going in here or doing drive-through?
I was gonna go in.
Okay.
So yeah.
It was a
So
net
wait, Cam's,
negative.
Cam's thoughts.
It was a net negative experience.
So, I
Great
I'll flip
term.
that
Great
back.
term.
We're pulling into Bojangles, so I'm gonna make this quick. Easily the least favorite overall experience. I like the intimacy of the tastings and the tours and stuff. And this one was like practically in the gift shop at a bar. You can't even hear what the lady is saying half the time.
If she was saying anything.
Yeah, which like there's barely any like, hey, here's how we make this. This is the kind of notes you're gonna get. Barely any of that. She pretty much relied on the TV, which she openly admitted won't line up with what we're drinking to do the talking.
Yeah.
But that being said, I did find this to be some of the easier drinking. But again, not enjoyable. I can't stress that enough. Still not enjoyable. But yeah, I just really disliked how... And it was like super rushed. We were at that bar for like maybe 10 minutes, maybe. And fucking 3 of that was the video they were showing. So yeah, overall, kind of...
I wanted to make a note on that. I don't understand what the deal is with these videos. That's like a thing. This wasn't a thing last time. When we went last year, we did not see nearly as many videos.
They always do it.
These videos are the most half-baked, like, horrible production I've ever seen. They're
Oh
awful.
wow, his inner video production.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and this is from someone who does video
They're
production.
incredibly half-baked. They're like, the front half of that video was the palest thing I've ever seen, and the back half was
Like the white balance was all off?
yeah, like it was awful. And then it was just like drone footage, the back half. I was like, what is going on? Who did this?
I might actually disagree with you. I think, well, I mean, on this one I can't agree more, but I thought a couple of the videos were actually really well done.
A few of them are, but like holistically, I feel like it's like, I just want to hear it from the person. I don't want to sit there and watch a video.
I mean,
that's my opinion. I
I
care.
kind of want to see the video rather than walking around brick houses and stuff.
Oh, I'd rather walk around.
I would rather hear it from like the host though, like be able to interact with an individual than just pay this money to sit down, watch a video, and then drink some drinks. That's fine. That's okay. But I think it's more of a cooler experience to interact with the individual, to be able to talk and ask questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not. This isn't school.
So,
you know?
like I said, I think my thoughts are just like some of the easier drinking, but overall the least interesting experience.
Yeah, I'm honestly pretty disappointed because this was the first craft one I think we really did not like.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Craft ones are kind of a challenge. I mean, they're not. Don't you think?
No.
They can be, but I think that most craft ones put on an amazing experience because they are really passionate about what they're doing and they kind of know that that's
which they didn't show
what
here.
they can provide. And usually the whiskeys just aren't quite as good because they don't have the resources and the time to invest in them yet.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Sometimes they are really good, but like in this case, they just half-ass everything.
They didn't even know where like the stamp was for the book. Like I felt like it was a kind of chaotic. And
the whole thing was a mess.
It was a little bit
We
chaotic.
were in and out in 20 minutes for the entire thing, it felt like.
Yeah, it was, like I said, just the least impressive experience as someone going into
I
this.
actually think the thing with craft is or at least I do, I give a lot of leniency with craft because they're newer, in my opinion. We didn't try their moonshine or anything like that, but like we give a lot of leniency because they're craft versus like a higher production, bigger company, which we don't. I think.
Nobody cares, Eric. We gotta do
yeah, we gotta eat. Plenty.
have we all been? Everywhere. To give you a little perspective, when that thing was running full blast, it was producing a barrel of bourbon every 4 minutes and 17 seconds, 19,000 gallons a day. Our Bullet Distillery out there in Shelbyville is state of the art. It's 7 years old. Looks like passing along. Somewhere back in the late 30s or 1940s, they had some gentlemen on tour from the General Electric Corporation. And they're walking around the campus, and one of the guys says, we had a big storm here in the state of Kentucky. Lightning hit one of their warehouses and caught it on fire. When a warehouse building catches on fire, it's going to the ground. It smells like my grandmother's house used to. So when I started here 5 years ago, I came here the first time and I looked at this conveyor system and said, man, this thing had to be put down sometime in the 1930s. But it wasn't. I don't think this conveyor system was put in into the late 1960s or early 1970s. So this wasn't even here, I guess, when they originally filled the barrels. Stitzel-Weller never made their own barrels. They always used to buy barrels from a cooper. Very, very dangerous job when you think about the fumes that were coming off of these barrels here. So come on over here through here. Feels great out here now, doesn't it? They torch everybody and bring them out into the car. Like I said, they wanted to tear the whole place down. They negotiated with the city. They put this fire retardant foam in here. Now, I saw her one time. I know how to get into this building. But they'd probably fire me if they knew that. You see these three look like wine ovens here? There's three 1930 Westinghouse coal stoker steam generating boilers that ran the entire system up. Around 2012, when they decided to open this place up for tours again, they took this building here, which was the old employee locker room, maintenance shop, machine shop. They put in a chemistry lab, which Captain wouldn't have been happy about, and they rebuilt this garage over here, and they put in a micro distillery. All the flavor comes from here, or is it also as well? Oh, it comes from everywhere. We only make probably 2 barrels. Okay. We don't make that. So see this right here? This is 1/3 of the last distillery. Look, it's still on the same. Notice it's made by Vendome, which is located here downtown Louisville. Glasses out, we're going to have another tasting here. It's a little cooler in this warehouse, so we're going to have a tasting in here. This one here we're going to try is the Bullet 10 Year. You might have ever had the Bullet 10 Year? Yes. Absolutely delicious drink here. So, they would bring these leaky barrels, they would mark where they were leaking, they would bring them down to this cooper shop. They would bring them in. This cooper shop is on the other side of that warehouse over there on the, through the window there. They'd bring the barrels in here. They would weigh them. There's one here and one over on that side. They would basically. I was embarrassed.
All right, Eric, thoughts.
Excuse me. I thought it was really cool. I think it just comes back to what we said a while ago about when you're doing the tours, like the history of it is. Mm-hmm. Like I think when we talked about how, or they kind of all say it, once you do 1 or 2 of the distilleries, you've done them all, kind of a deal, like in terms of the tours, like walking in it, once you know the process, it's all the same. Really, it's just the mash is the different thing, or maybe their process is slightly different, but I think what makes this one cool was it
focus more on the history than the process.
It was a historical tour. It wasn't a
like
distillery tour with air quotes. That being said, I thought the guy we had was very nice, and
he was cool.
He was a bit of a talker, but he was a nice guy.
He likes his job. He cares about what he's talking about.
Yeah, he was very nice. He was really nice. I thought it was cool. We got to walk through some of the buildings that we got to see. I don't know where. So was that room that we were in his office? That's where you were doing the tasting last time?
That was his office. Where we did our tasting was the boardroom, which was right next door to that office. We didn't go in there, but they had a sign that said tasting in progress. It's called the. And when I did it, there was no tour, it was just a tasting, so that must be just the room they do their only tastings in.
Oh, you didn't do a tour last time?
No. This was my first time doing a tour there.
You tasted in a place called the boardroom?
It was.
Wasn't that every room with that guy? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
There was a big room.
Any other thoughts?
Big window along the wall.
I mean, the 26-year one was my favorite. I think
That very last one?
No, the limited edition, like 26-year
Orphan barrel.
Yeah, what is it?
The Muckety Muck
Rusty
one?
Huskies or whatever it is. Yeah, something.
Rusty Huskies.
I don't know what it was called. Pigs and Swines, you know, whatever it was.
Pig flu.
That was good.
Yeah, that one was really good. I liked that a lot. The prices are kind of nuts.
Yeah.
$900 for a bottle. Hey, pass.
They only sold right here though, right?
Luke, what are your general thoughts?
I think it's great. I think it's really unique to be able to go somewhere that has that much history. There aren't distilleries here that have that much like iconic history. So that's really fun. They've done a really good job of setting up that visitor center and everything to be nice. They've leaned into the history, so that I think it's a really fun tour if you want to get to see like some of the iconic brands that, like you said, most of their most famous stuff is sold off now. Like they're not making it, so you don't get to taste it on this. But if you're in Louisville, if you're going around the Bourbon Trail, or if you just drink bourbon, you know of those brands, and so it's fun to be able to be where they started.
Justin?
Yeah, it was nice. It was a good experience. Took you back to a simpler time before central cooling. I actually don't know after that tour what Stitzel Weller makes though. Like I got a second serving of Bullet.
They make Bullet.
The tastings were kind of random. They gave me something from Scotland, which was really good, but wasn't from there at all. I'm not sure why we tasted what we tasted. It was kind of strange in that way, and it was random when he decided to bust out a drink. But I mean, that's cool, you know. A few Shaggy Dog stories, a little bit of looking around through windows, you know, abandoned buildings. So just a regular Saturday night for people in the city, but it was good. A lot of history. Obviously, everybody wants to go where the king, the god himself, Pappy Van Winkle, once worked.
Here's what I was really confused about, and maybe I just missed it. Like, I don't really understand. I get the history of it. I get that, like, they were in a position where they had to sell a lot of things because they were going under, you know, swapping different ownership and all that and whatever. I just don't really understand, though, what brought, so in the 90s, like, Rip Van Winkle or whatever, like, that bottle was dirt cheap, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I don't really understand, like, why is it so limited? Is it because of the year, or is it, like, what? I just don't understand what makes the Pappy.
It's because it's supply and demand. There's not enough of it for people that want it, because you have to age it for a long period of time, and it can only be aged in one warehouse. So they can't mass produce it. Like
It can only be aged in one
you have
warehouse.
a finite amount that you can produce every year, and it's in incredibly high demand. That's why. I mean, just like any, like most distilleries' fanciest bourbon is going to be limited and allocated because your space is finite. You only can produce so much of a old whiskey in a year.
Okay.
Does that answer your confusion?
I guess.
I think isolate just the tour. That one is up there, potentially my favorite. I still like Hartfield more for just the overall feel and the vibes, but just the tour aspect, I think that one's probably my favorite. Because like we said, that one focused more on the history than the actual process, which is what I find most interesting. Sure as hell isn't the fucking bourbon. That's kind of it, yeah. Like, I openly passed on it one because we had it earlier today, and I was like, no thanks. But that's more or less it. I just really like the tour.
Should also be mentioned, we did have somebody that was a little bit upset about the heat.
I mean, it's whatever.
We did.
Yeah, that lady.
Oh, the woman. I thought you were saying one of the four of us.
We just got one more left, and then we're done here. right, Eric. One more time from the top.
Yeah, here's the shtick. Evan Williams has loads of money.
Especially given this location.
Loads of money. Like, that tour was a lot of money.
Yes.
To put together. That was probably the highest, quote-unquote, production of cost to put together something that was there, what we were part of.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it was a self-guided tour, and I thought it was...
Might as well have been.
I think it was worse than self-guided.
Yeah, seriously.
Fine. It was an assisted tour, but it felt...
Yes. You were the ones assisting him.
Yeah, we were giving him the tour.
But the drinks were good. The last one was really good. It's kind of weird the way they do their like stickering thing of whatnot, but that is neither here nor there. Somebody tried to take our sticker. That was interesting.
Yeah.
We don't know him. He definitely has no taste in bourbon because his favorite was Jim Beam.
Maybe I should go there then.
He said the tour was his favorite.
Yeah.
He just said the tour.
But he also said it like he really liked the bourbon
Yeah,
too.
he definitely was.
He was like it was
Hey,
the
here's what
coolest.
he definitely thought it was a net positive experience.
We don't know. He might have done a premium tasting.
And you think that Jack
Sorry.
Daniel's premium is better than what we tasted?
Jack Daniels. No, it was Jim Beam.
Oh, sorry, Jim Beam.
Yeah, we didn't do a premium tasting with ours. Nor was it a premium presenter.
Honestly, if she wasn't a bitch, she would have been better than this guy.
Yeah, this guy was not good.
He was falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But so was I.
So are we all?
All right.
What is going on with
Just
the
an
wall
old
with
man.
that limo?
It's like felt.
He just needs to.
That's what it looks like.
He just needs to permanently retire.
Check out the
from
bumpin'
work
felt limo.
He needs to permanently retire from work and just hang out in some rocking chair. And
Dude,
tell
that's like
random ass
Bejeweled
stories
or
for the rest
something.
of his
Is
life.
it?
Don't you
Oh.
It looks like it's like you know what it is? It's like bathroom floor. You know what I'm talking
Tiling,
like
yeah.
that kind of thing is what it looks like.
Luke, last thoughts on Evan Williams?
I second everything that Eric said. It's incredibly high, like production value. It would be an amazing tour if you had a tour guide. Unfortunately, we had an anti-tour guide.
Yeah, it was just really rough.
Yeah.
And as far as the whiskey goes, the 12-year at the end was really good. The rest of it I thought was fairly forgettable. The third one was all right.
I liked the third one. I liked the last two. Yeah.
Yeah, but the actual experience that they have designed would be great in the hands of a tour guide.
Yeah, I will say, just for the record's sake, when we're talking about, like, last time we were talking about video production of, like, these, this was a lot of money to put together.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, the video production that they did was not a cheap thing.
Oh, even the set construction,
The-
like that one
yeah.
place where we were just standing at the wharf, I guess, like the details on the houses and the roofing and
Oh my
everything was
goodness!
very high production.
Whoever put that stuff together, this was like a lot of planning that took place to get it done.
Mhm.
So I applaud them for that, but I also very much understand Evan Williams has money to put into it. So it was. I thought it was cool though. Like even the lighting up of the process was a more
on the
unique
wall.
way
Mhm.
rather
And
than
that
like.
bar we drank
And the
at was
blinding beer
Yeah,
light.
the bar was really cool. Like it was, the TVs were one-way glass. Like when it was not on, it was a mirror.
Yeah.
It was like very cool. It was a lot of they clearly thought through a lot of it. Like even just the staging of the room was set in like a vintage feel. Like it was a very cool idea. That I wish I understood more of what the street thing was and why we were hearing horses, and like it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. But I
He
was
said we were supposed to be on Whiskey Row back when Evan Williams was making product. And then that one bar that we were initially in front of, which is where they do their speakeasy tasting,
yeah.
it is the bar that we were at. Like that was the same building.
Okay.
So that was the significance of that bar. But yeah, it was supposed to be like you were on Whiskey Row, which is Main Street, Louisville, back when Evan Williams was working.
Got it. Okay, that makes more sense. I just didn't understand.
Justin, thoughts?
Yeah, I liked our tour guide a lot.
Classic turnaround.
I recognized him as my grandpa's roommate in the nursing home.
In New York. Might have been Manhattan.
In Manhattan, a place where everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Evan Williams, their bourbon is kind of a mix. Like the first two, kind of forgettable. The Master Distiller one was actually good, and the Red Label was excellent, and apparently very rare. So rare that some hoodlum tried to steal our sticker to be able to buy it for $150.
What a weird individual.
Kind of a weird guy.
Yeah.
A lot of money. They also had an Oscar-nominated short at the beginning called "Evan Williams Can Do Anything." Apparently,
Evan Williams, the story.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Evan Williams Roundtable was
Brought to you by the folks over at PBS that made the sort of B-roll for the Founding Fathers videos. Not great acting, but did kind of give you some experience.
Well, that
our
one
tour
dude-
guide did make an appearance in the video as his younger self. That was obviously a lot of money. I actually thought that the whole showing you the distilling journey, I think that would be really great for somebody. If you're the first person, if you're for your first tour, this might be a good one to go to. If you don't get Bill.
Ooh, these name dropping now.
You can bleep that out. Sorry. If you don't get, I don't know, somebody. But because it shows you the whole journey. If you're a visual thinker, it shows you like from
Roll the B-roll.
From the mash all the way to the barrel. So
yeah.
And then there's a lot of things. There's garage doors that come up, and then you like kind of back up, and you smell things when you go up a staircase, and then you end up on a city street where there's a random stuff about women's suffrage. Don't know what that had to do with bourbon, but it's cool. And then there's a tasting in an old 1950s diner where there's a video. I don't know what happened in the video because our tour guide was asking.
And it was quiet.
The tour guide
In
was.
fairness, I have no idea what that video was about.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah,
it was about Prohibition, which technically I didn't really need to hear it anyway because we had already heard about Prohibition.
We heard about it, yeah.
Apparently,
11 times prior.
The interesting thing I actually would say about this whole trip holistically is we've actually done a lot of stuff that's connected to Heaven's Hill and that company. As for like last time, I actually don't remember hearing anyone talk about them to my recollection.
We didn't have any that connected to that.
So I just think that was fascinating that Luke probably very strategically slept at night thinking through this process of how can I get the theme to be Heaven's Hill undertone.
I think they probably did that because Heaven Hill is still family run in Kentucky, and most Kentucky distilleries, like even Stitzel-Weller, are now owned by major companies like Diageo or whatever it is.
Right.
And so there probably is an added layer of respect that people have for Heaven Hill, and a lot of times the references, like Stitzel-Weller's references, were mostly like, yeah, we helped them when they caught fire, like, we're cool also, but I think there is a more respect for Heaven Hill because of being family owned still.
So my thoughts on Evan Williams. Tour guide had a little too many tastings, as
that's charitable of you.
he just straight up did not have the articulation needed for a tour guide. I got like every third word he said, because that's actually how he talked. Asking a singular guy if he knows another singular guy in quite literally the biggest city in the nation. Hey, probably not gonna happen.
But on that note, I did recognize that guy as the main character from Grand Theft Auto 4.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, we definitely one of my definitely one of the most lackluster experiences of the trip. I'd say easily my favorite two are Hartfield. I'll do top three of Hartfield, one we just did.
And that's all of
Something
them.
that still,
Stutzelweller.
yeah, Stutzelweller and Lux Row are probably my top 3 that I enjoyed the most. But that's all 12. I'll see you. I'll cue the driving home montage, and I'll see you when I get home, either later tonight or tomorrow, for final thoughts on the trip. Alright, I'm back in the room, back home. Incredible hat hair going on, so ignore that. Yeah, I'll reconnect, I'll film a little bit tomorrow, detailing my thoughts on the whole trip, because it's 1/2 midnight, and I've been driving for 6 hours, so I'm quite tired. And I really gotta piss and shit. So, plus I lost my SD card reader, so I couldn't move all my footage over to my SSD that I got for I can move all my footage to my SSD card, or my SSD. So my SD card's probably quite full, and I don't want to risk, and I don't want to fill that up mid-conclusion of this video. So I'll sleep on it, reconnect with you in the morning, or at some point tomorrow. So, see you then. Okay, so I'm back. I'm in my room. It is 5:15 in the afternoon the next day, and let's wrap this thing up. First off, on the drive home from Kentucky, there was a Home Depot rental truck that was almost you'd think we were racing. This thing was zooming around, and I would pass it sometimes, and it would disappear for 10 minutes, and then appear back. It would pass me, and then I would catch up to it, and I probably saw this truck like 10 times over the course of hundreds of miles. And then it really ran out in front of me, and I didn't see it for a while until I saw it pulled over by the cops. So, a little funny thing there. But to fully wrap this up, I want to go back to the interview and discuss about how it's who you're drinking with, not what you're drinking. Bert Kreischer the way he talks about drinking is borderline poetry, in the sense that, like, it's not so much, it's not about what you're drinking, it's about who you're drinking with. Going to get a beer with your friends, it's not about what beer you're drinking, it's about going to get the beer. It's about, like, bottomless mimosas. It's not about the mimosas themselves, it's about the group being excited for the mimosas. It is a social activity, and it is a great time to be with friends. So I didn't enjoy any of the bourbons I had. I had sips of bourbon that came out of bottles that cost hundreds, if not into the thousands of dollars, and I didn't enjoy a single one. The only sample during this whole trip that I enjoyed was the very first one, which was a beer from a distillery that also brewed beer. But I had fun because of the people I was with. We were cracking jokes, we were having good laughs, talking about our lives and stuff. And the tours were still cool because like you learn history and stuff. But the drinking wasn't. But even me retching at all the drinks made for talking points, made for a lot of good laughs, a lot of good jokes. So yeah, it's not about what you're drinking. It's about who you're drinking with. And some of my favorite drinking memories aren't like at a bar on Friday night. It's not at a house party. It's me and my friends, either in like a bar of what like being like the only people in a bar in an afternoon, or sitting around a campfire at one of our houses, just drinking and shooting the shit. And I think that speaks volumes to what drinking is. It's not thirst quenching. It is socializing. It is a social activity. And I think to sum it up, I want to quote a phrase I see all over the internet still to this day. You don't need to drink to have fun, but it sure does help. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up on that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.